Hello everybody, I am Grandmaster David Anton Guijarro.
I'm Magnus Carlsen.
My name is Jan-Krzysztof. I am a top grandmaster.
I'm Grandmaster Nils Grandelius from Sweden.
I am Grandmaster Harikrishna Pentala from India.
Now anyone can learn and improve their chess skills with the world champion, Magnus Carlsen. The Magnus Trainer app is packed with fun mini-games and interactive training content, playable anytime, anywhere. Get the Magnus Trainer, available in the App Store and Google Play.
Seriously? Checkmate! Aimchess is an intelligent system that analyzes your game, prevents mistakes, and develops recommendations for improving your skill. Phew!
I'm ahead of the game.
Remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker, but follow me, I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging, I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy, logically I'm impossibly wanted, and they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game.
Hi there, it's me, John Chess, inventor of chess. And are you sick of sucking at chess? Well, lucky for you, I have also invented Aimchess. Look at this chess puzzle. Did you solve it? Of course not, that's because you're not using Aimchess. Aimchess is a digital chess trainer that helps you improve by creating unique lessons based on your recent games. Just link your chess.com or Lichess account and feel that brain wrinkle. Yeah, see, you shouldn't have blundered your queen just there. Now I know! Thanks, Aimchess! Now all that's left to figure out is how that funny horse moves. They even got acquired by that one chess player other than Hikaru, so you know it's good. Hi, it's me, that guy I just mentioned, and I am the best chess man in the world. But thanks to Aimchess, I also have a girlfriend now as well. This could be you! Personalized training, game reports and analysis disease, study plans, thick, luscious hair, intuition builder, all this and more available on Aimchess.
Hello?
Courtney, did you know that Aimchess users improve their ratings 43% faster than average? So what are you waiting for? Join Aimchess today. Links will be somewhere, probably. I don't know, I just made the video. Aimchess. Sign up now and get 50k silver and 2 free months off your VPN. Now that's what I call a Queen's Gambit. That's so fucking dumb. Aimchess, for when you aim to chess. That's their slogan. That's what they say. Ready, aim, chess. That's another. Look, just sign up for Aimchess, okay? Just, come on, literally, why not? Alright, just stop being a dick for like 5 seconds and just go, alright? Jesus Christ.
As a kid, I spent hours every day reading about chess, about opening.
Hello everyone, I'm Grandmaster Pragyananda. Do you want to use my games to improve your chess? Now you can do. We have handpicked 50 puzzles from my games played in Champions Chess Tour this season.
I went Bishop c5, d4 and Queen e4. Yeah, another crucial win for the qualifications to top 8.
You can download it for free just by going to chess24.com/puzzlepack. Enjoy solving.
Welcome everybody!
My name is Jan-Krzysztof, former world chess champion.
Are starting a new course here for Chessable.
A very special Chessable course.
Master your chess with Judith Polgar.
You know what? I learned a lot.
Hi, I'm John Chess, inventor of chess, and also your new stepdad. And we're very disappointed in you, son and or daughter, because you suck at chess. And so that is why you have to now sign up for Aimchess. Aimchess is a digital chess trainer that creates personalized lessons based on positions from your own games, and turns your blunders into wonders. Link your Chess24 account or other online chess accounts today, and learn the official Aimchess Gambit, which is where you take your opponent's king, and then you just fucking eat it. I didn't know I was gonna say that. In-depth analysis, tactics trainer, blunderer, preventerer, whatever the this is. And a new personalized feed full of curated chess puzzles and memes. All of this and more available only at Aimchess.
Hello?
Courtney, did you know that the average Aimchess user—
Oh my god, stop calling me about fucking Aimchess!
You heard it here first. Join Aimchess today and become the world's greatest chess man in the world. Or chess woman? Hi, I'm Magnus Carlsen. I'm Magnus Carlsen, and I own Aimchess. But now you are a Magnus Carlsen instead, because you beat me at chess because of Aimchess. That's right, you dumb piece of Aimchess. They asked me to cut that last bit, but I won't. Get 6 months premium free by typing your credit card details, name, and full home address in the comments down below. Aimchess. They put the based in turn-based strategy. Why the f do you keep paying me for these? Aimchess. It stands for Aim Chess. Oh shit, I'm out of time. Sign up for Aimchess!
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with AirThings.
He played the Berlin, which I sort of expected, but I didn't really know what to do against, because in reality very few people do.
When we are playing an even game against someone of similar strength to us, usually we need to give something in order to obtain the initiative.
Just how shrewd and cunning Alireza can be even with very little time.
I want to show you a game just to prove that I play these lines that I played against former world number 2 and a bit of a superstar, Jan-Krzysztof.
Time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts. Chessable, take control of your journey towards chess mastery.
Gains that confidence, plays a few good events, stops looking inwards into his own insecurities.
I like the no expectation part, so like that's something that has gotten better because sure, it's like not my full-time job.
It's definitely good for chess in India, and now there is Olympiad also, so there'll be more people following and taking up chess as professional sport.
Yeah.
And it's surprisingly concrete still, no? Like, e takes d4, good move. This d takes d4, this d takes d5.
This line was essential and forced, but also not rocket science to map out.
This is John. John loves to study chess. This is David. David loves to study chess as well, but efficiently. John spends more time setting up the board and figuring out what's on the page of his book than he gets to study. David likes to take it easy and use his time wisely. David has finished his exercise for today. John should try the same.
I'm going to talk about my games from this season of the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour.
The idea of h4 is very direct. I want to play h5, open up the king side, and potentially check my team.
Alan continued with trying to put some pressure here on the e6 pawn. And c5, knight's doing a great job here, both potentially for some attacking ideas, but also defending the e6 pawn.
The rook g8 still doesn't spoil anything, but rook takes g7 is a gross mistake now, because rook c8 is still easily winning.
Welcome everyone to the final of the Aimchess Rapid. Yes, we've got there after some fascinating battles over the past week. And in the final, we have Shahriar Mamedyarov against Jan-Krzysztof Duda. And my co-commentator today is Simon Williams. Simon, nice to see you.
Hello, Danny. Yeah, it's good to be here. I'm normally over on the other show, as you might be aware, but it's nice to be with another fellow Englishman, and we've done this a couple of times before, haven't we? And it's always been good fun. So looking forward to it.
It's always been good, and yeah, so you've dipped down from the Premier League to the Championship, basically.
well, I don't know, or maybe the other way around. Who knows? You know, up in the Premier League now. So I'm not sure. Depends how you look at it.
Well, it's good that you've joined us here in second class. So. Yeah, interesting final. I mean, you know, I've been commentating on some of the days here, and been some really exciting games. I mean, I've been really impressed with some of Shaq's attacking games. Have been sensational. I don't know if you've caught some of the chess, Simon.
Yeah, I saw this Rook takes H2 game, which was one of the most. If viewers can recall this as well, it's definitely worth looking at. It was one of the most shocking and beautiful victories I've actually seen in a long time. I was not going to say ever, but in a long time. It was a seriously brilliant game that Shaq played, and the thing with Shaq is he's very capable of playing beautiful chess on his day. And you know, talking about Jan-Krzysztof Duda, he's a great player. He's obviously won the knockout World Cup by beating Magnus Carlsen, also a very aggressive player. So I'm kind of expecting some good old hack attacks today, Danny. I'm hoping, at least.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes with Shaq, he actually, I mean, you know, he's a class act, and sometimes he actually goes very technical. And I think actually when he's at his best, I think it's when he reins it in a little bit. I mean, I'm hoping we're going to see, you know, the basic hacker, but against someone like Duda, I think he might have to rein it in a bit. But let's see. You know, he's always, his basic instinct is to attack, and that's what makes him very, very exciting. He's got white in this first game. We've got our first move, d4 on the boards.
Good stuff.
Shaq sinking low in his chair there.
He is. He's very low, isn't he?
Dominated already.
Yeah, and Duda's up tall at the moment, so you know, looking very promising. And well, on the board, Danny, it looks like we got a sort of Rogozin stroke Nimzo Indian so far. All pretty common stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, this line of the Nimzo is, I guess, is he going to take on c4? Let's have a look. Take on c4 and b6. I mean, it's been sort of so well analysed.
Yeah, there was actually a new idea that Sam Shanklin played after bishop g5, bishop a6, in just recently in the American Championships. A novelty actually, which was queen c1, I think. But bishop b7 is the other option, and this is a very logical move as well, just controlling those central squares. And you know, it seems this has been extremely well analysed. I mean, white has the extra central pawn, but black has good piece development and, you know, good control of that centre. Danny, would you? Okay, knight e5. That seems semi-aggressive. They're stopping black from playing a natural developing move.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to pretend I know this variation very well. But knight e5 looks a little bit unusual to me.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, that would be my first thought as well, that, you know, you should be getting your king castle generally, right? And it's going to take, if you want a castle kingside for white, 3 moves to do so. Move a pawn, move a bishop, move the king. But this is kind of, I don't know if this is a new move. I can try to have a look if you want, and make myself useful.
I'm frantically looking up on my database right now. So
okay.
just give me a moment.
I'll give you a moment. I will have a look on my database as well, see if I can beat you.
Okay, go on, here we go. It's a race. It's a race.
So I am using gchess.com.
Are you? Nice bit of promotion there. Very good.
Thank you. Cheers.
I'm using clunky old chess base.
Yeah, I have to enter all the moves in, so I'm getting there.
Okay, I'm getting there.
And I like this a little bit of pressure already.
Chess base is telling me.
Yeah.
2 games. Only 2 games with knight e5. I've got Jordan van Foreest against Vidit.
Yeah.
And then I've got an 1800 playing it.
Exactly the same, Danny. I'm seeing this. I mean, Jordan van Foreest, who I'm sure most viewers know, is one of the most talented players, and he's got so many interesting ideas. And he won that game against Vidit, and Vidit also played the move that Duda played, Queen D6. So we are still following that game. I'm just having a look about games that have been played online, see if it's been played. It hasn't actually, according to what I've got, ever been played on chess.com or Lee Chess, this position.
Oh, really?
Which is quite strange. So it's only been played over the board, Danny, this year as well, 2022, right?
I've got it, yeah, Viscount's 2022.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's good to know that our databases coincide.
That is good. I'm glad about that as well.
But I like the fact that G-Chess, you can tap into lots of online games as well.
You can, yeah. It's got a fair few resources, so
nice.
Find it useful.
Excellent. And yeah, Queen D6. It was the move, as you say, the move played in this game, Van Foreest against Vidit, and then E3 was played by Van Foreest, which seems pretty normal. I wonder if what else could you do?
I mean, I suppose the first thing I'd be thinking of is taking the knight, because
exactly.
I want to checkmate. I think it's unlikely I'm going to checkmate just with my knight and not brilliantly placed queen, but maybe there's some interesting ideas. Is there? I mean, I'd like to go knight G4 here and threaten something, but I'm also thinking this is looking a little bit superficial somehow, Danny. Do you reckon?
It doesn't feel like white has enough pieces.
Yeah, I agree.
And actually, I quite like black's pieces. So
yes,
but of course, I mean, that's the move we're looking at to destroy the king position. But the move that Van Foreest played, E3, just looks like the most sensible, really. You start to get a piece out. But interesting that Mamedyarov is suddenly thinking here. I mean, that I don't understand, because if he goes knight e5, we've got 2 games in the database, one between Van Foreest and another by an 1800 player. So he's going to know this game. So I'm not quite sure why he's taking his time here.
It's a bit strange, and I suppose a little bit worrying, isn't it? If because it is getting a little bit sharp, I'd say here. Because again, the white king is not castled. If you castle queenside, you're really, got no protection over there.
But do you know what? That's actually a very Shaq move, isn't it?
It is.
He loves the castle queenside.
It just looks so suspicious, doesn't it? I mean, like you say, the knight coming into the center, attacking the bishop. It's playable. I think that's what I'm going to say. But I mean, I love castling queenside, Danny, and even here, I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm not sure about this one. Maybe it's okay.
Do you know what? If apart from E3, if we were going to have a kind of an outside bet, then knowing Shaq, then castles queenside is actually a move that I would think, well, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. There's something very strange about it. I mean, what if black plays an immediate c5? I mean, whose king is weaker here? I think that's the question. Are we going to get to black's king with a rook swinger, or is actually white's king going to be a target in these kind of positions? You can see black's light square bishop being a really strong attacking piece, because it can cut the white king off in the center of the board when it moves in. So I think this is very risky to play like this, even for Shaq. Okay, he's played E3, Danny.
He's played E3. No, I completely agree. But it's it's just the kind of move that I tell you, if it were bullet chess, he'd be making the move in. Yeah. Anyway,
I would love to have seen it. I'll be honest. I would love to have seen it because we'd be guaranteed just a crazy game. But these guys do respect their positions as well. Maybe a bit more than I do. So,
well, C5. We're following this game exactly. And here is where Bishop F4 was played. It's funny, Bishop F4 seems a bit weird. I mean, obviously, it's looking opposite the Queen, fair enough. But, as we were both trying to do, it feels like White should be, if the Bishop is out on G5 anyway, it feels like, somehow it might be nice to sort of damage.
I agree, Danny. I mean, just looking at how the Van Forest Vidic game went, which occurred in this one, it seems to me that Black really didn't have any problems after the way it went, Queen E7, as you're showing on the board, and this variation. This must be okay for Black. I mean, I suppose in the long term, Danny, White does have the two bishops, which could be quite an important factor if you can stabilize the position here. But I don't feel that this sequence here really caused Black too many problems. So maybe Shaq is. I mean, could you also? This is actually quite messy, isn't it? What you've got on the board. I've actually checked on the computer, and the computer just says that Black is fine in these lines generally. But I mean, could you take the knight, but play a little bit more circumspect with maybe just retreating the white knight? I mean, I'm thinking the whole idea of this. Yeah, maybe coming back to F3.
It doesn't
feel that threatening, I have to say. But if I can move my bishop and castle, can I claim something or take your pawn, claim something small here, maybe?
Okay, let's have a little think. Okay, what if I'm? Okay, I'm going to be really boring.
Sure.
No. I was going to just take on D4, but actually, let me just go knight C6.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I want to play Rook D1. I kind of like the idea of castling, but I suppose
we're back to that one again.
Yeah, castling kingside, I think this time. But I mean, maybe Rook D1. Could I try and make sure I don't get an isolated pawn?
Well, what happens if I start chopping?
Yeah, so I'll take with a knight here. I'll try to.
Now, okay. Well, let's just see.
Sure.
I'm hoping the rook isn't going to do any damage on the king side, but
yeah.
Okay, so Queen E5. Let's just go central. I mean, this could be very dangerous.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the more I'm looking at this, actually, the more I'm thinking White needs to be castled in this position. The White king is too slow. Maybe I have to capture on D4 with the queen, but I can't really claim anything there, can I? I mean...
By the way, Shaq has actually taken on F6. He's gone for this.
Oh, he's gone for this line. Okay. It's a bit worrying when the players follow my possible suggestions. I always fear a little bit for their health. So I don't, maybe not the best way to go about things. I mean, here you would like to keep the knight active, but I think as you demonstrate, there's no way to do that. So you have to lose the tempo. And White is losing a lot of tempos, Danny, isn't he, from this idea, just to cause a little bit of damage to Black's king side.
By the way, I mean, in this line, so I was playing knight C6.
Yeah.
What if I'm really ambitious with Black and I take on F3 and then I take here?
Okay.
Now, obviously, I'm opening up the G file.
Yeah.
Which I'm a little bit worried about. However, if I'm doing some damage in the middle, then let's see.
I'm really considering castling queenside now.
Right.
But, okay, let's try it. Let's go for it, shall we? Yeah.
Okay. So all I need is a rook there. Okay, well, let's put the knight out.
Okay, that's annoying because I wanted to bring my rook in, obviously, through the center. That was the whole point of my last idea, trying to get some action on the king side. But your movers seem to have pretty much stumped that possibility. And again, now I'm not okay. Maybe this castle queen side is not the right way then. So what else can I do? Maybe we'll go back and move Danny, and just have a look at this position because it's certainly a critical position and maybe quite forcing. I think Shaq has come back with a knight. So this could occur if Duda now takes on f3. So it will be on Shaq to find a good move after in that line you showed, Danny. Maybe we should have a look at it.
But I mean, obviously taking on f3 is really, really ambitious.
Very ambitious, yeah. But
we can just bring a knight out. I mean, I was thinking in the variation we just looked at, if White
taking, that must
White wants to play it a bit safer, then I mean, I was just thinking this would probably balance itself out because, pawn on c5 isn't great, but then again, probably Black is going to be able to counterattack here. White's development is a bit rubbish. So I was thinking it would probably burn out somehow.
I'd rather be White here, though. I mean, if I had to pick a side, I'd probably go for the White pieces in this position.
I was hoping with Black just to get something very quick here.
Yeah, I mean, if I go Rook C1, I'm getting the pressure a little bit quicker, aren't I? That's the slight issue. And your bishop on B7,
it gets in the way.
It gets in the way, doesn't it, of your plan? So actually, this taken on C5 is a much better plan for White, definitely.
Let me try this because this.
Sure.
I mean, I'm.
Okay, so I'll grab the pawn.
I'm trying to stir things up, basically.
Makes sense.
But now, where is my knight move? I need a good knight move.
Can you come to E5? Maybe?
Let's have a little look. Takes. Are you going to chop C8?
Either that or I mean, I'm just wondering how I'm going to deal with the Black Rook coming into my position.
Well, I was thinking something like this, taking and then King D2.
King D2, right? Yeah.
Now, how much does? Maybe Bishop E4 actually.
Yeah, that's a really nasty move because I can't, as you just point out, block that one. And with your rook coming in, this is actually definitely enough play for Black, isn't it? This kind of position. Going back to the game, we do have another move. I mean, it's a very unique position. All these things are possible, but the way things are going is another ending, which I guess strategically is more ideal for Black because Black doesn't have that weak pawn. And we see all the pieces coming off now. I mean, the only slight problem with Black's position is his double pawns, but I don't think these are ever that serious, are they, Danny? In this kind of structure, you often get this thing. It should really be pretty equal, I feel here.
Yeah,
well, very equal.
Yeah. I mean, we were looking for a thriller. I think we'll have to wait for another game. Looks very equal. I mean, this doubled F pawn can actually be very useful if the king trots out to F6.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose the only question is how is White developing? Because
you were also saying, Danny, you wanted Shaq to play a bit more positional, grind away a little bit.
Yeah,
and
he can do it. He's a multifaceted player. He's in his DNA. He's a big hacker.
Yeah,
but actually, he's an absolute class act. I mean, let's not forget he was actually rated over 2,800.
He was world number 2. People forget this.
He was world number 2. Exactly.
Being world number 2 just shows you. Well, I mean, you're an incredible player, right? And you need at this standard to be able to play all sorts of chess, right? I mean, you can't just be you're all of these players' endings and technical plays exceptional, including Shaq. So I have seen him grind down many players by.
Well, actually, I mean, in the semi-final against Richie Rapport, he won, for example, this very technical rook and bishop endgame of opposite color bishops or pawns on the same side. Very nice. And I saw him do exactly the same. It was in, let me see, Beale 2018.
Yeah.
I was commentating there, and Mamedyarov won the tournament ahead of Carlsen. And in the critical game, Mamedyarov against Carlsen, Mamedyarov ground down Magnus in a very similar endgame, actually. So, I mean, that just shows. And I think that was probably when Mamedyarov was his absolute height, as you say, number 2 in the world.
Yeah.
So he can do it, but I think he needs a bit more juice to do it than in this position, which does look very equal.
I mean, you need something to latch onto, don't you? And I mean, if White can push his pawn to e4 and put his king behind that pawn, I'd be like, okay, then there's some serious chances. You know, well, I don't know about serious chances. There's some chances because it stops your f5 idea. I have a bit more space. And I can play that position, right? My king's a bit more centralized, but it's very hard to achieve anything like that here. I mean, I still very slightly prefer to be white here just because of those pawns, but it's not going to be enough at this level unless one side does something quite wrong. You know Mamedyarov's background, Danny. I mean, Jovanka interviewed him when he was over in Norway, and it's quite remarkable where he came from. You know, he was extremely poor, and he lived in a very small house. And when he was young and trying to get better at chess, I think it was along the lines of he would leave his house at something to the local park because it was the only place that was quiet, you know, and he would just work there every day, you know. Wow. So it's quite an incredible story. I think the interview you can find, it's up on the Chess24 site somewhere with Jovanka, but he was very, very dedicated to become a stronger player.
And that was in Baku, yeah?
Yeah, in Baku, I think. I mean, I'm not 100% sure where it was, but he struggled away. Are we going to see a draw here, Danny, immediately?
Ooh, possibly. Yeah.
I mean, I don't see any reason why Black should be trying to win this position. Shaq probably thinking along the lines, okay, I tried an opening idea. My opponent knew exactly what to do. Let's just take a draw and get on with the next game. It's looking good for your quiz.
Yeah. Pop quiz. Here I come. I might make the second half. Excellent.
Might make the first half at this rate.
Might even make the first half if they continue in this game. Yeah. Oh, it looks like they're going to do it. There we go. It's a draw.
It's a draw. Fair enough. I mean, you get this, Danny, don't you? Like one player tries an idea in the full knowledge that if their opponent plays the correct moves, it's just going to be a draw. But they're sort of gambling on the fact that their opponent might not know the correct sequence. I think this does happen at this level. Reasonable lot. By the way, Omar is just telling me that Shaq is actually not from Baku, but from Sun. How do we pronounce this? Sun Kuwait, maybe.
Oh, I can't see that.
That's on the Chess24 YouTube chat. So hello to everyone there, and I'll try to keep an eye on the chat on YouTube, and I guess we're on Twitch as well. So I'll keep a little look out there.
Excellent. Yeah, well, not the most explosive start to the match, but you know we've got 2 days, 2 sets, of course. So just to recap on the rules, that in this first day, this first set, basically you get 2.5. If you get 2.5 out of 4, if you win this first set, then of course that is a big step forward. So 2 sets of 4 games, and if it's 2 sets all at the end of the second day, then they will go into a blitz tiebreak, and then anything. So yeah, we've got a very long way to go. I assume we won't be waiting another 40 minutes till the top of the hour before we actually get the second game.
I think from past they normally have a 15-minute maximum. Oh, 30. Okay, about 15-minute break in between games, so not too long. So
okay. Do we have an exact time when the next game is going to kick off?
I am guessing 35, but that's a guess. Oh, I think we're also being told that might be correct. Yeah.
35.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me just make a little public announcement that this is, of course, the Aimchess Rapid, and Aimchess, the sponsor, is, well, they have a very powerful tool for improvement in chess. Do check out Aimchess/try if you want to check it out. And this is a really powerful analytical tool that will help you to look at your own games, and it will drill down deep and really tell you where your strengths and your weaknesses are. And there's some very interesting metrics. So for example, it'll show you, are you good at converting an advantage? Or how is your time management? And then based on what it sees from your games that you've inputted, it will give you targeted exercises based on what it sees in your own games. Simon, have you seen Aimchess? Have you checked it out?
I have, yeah. I'm very impressed with it. I mean, it's quite a new idea as well, and I'm really impressed by any company in the chess world who comes up with something fresh. And I think this is particularly useful for any improving player, even at the top levels, to work out where their sort of weaknesses are, because it automatically tracks your games on Lichess, chess.com, and it will work out where your strengths and weaknesses are, and it will tell you with some solid stats, and it will train those points. So it's a very, very, very clever idea. And I have to admit, with you know, sort of the thing I was involved with, G-Chess, we were impressed by some of it, and we did, can I say, steal some of their concepts?
Oh, careful.
we're all under the same company, so I think I'm right saying that. Borrowed. Sorry, yes. That was a slip of the tongue, Freudian slip. But this happens all the time, doesn't it, with companies? But like, you know, generally. So yeah, very, very impressive, and you can try it all for free. Aimchess. So go and just give it a go, I'd say. And you know, if you like it, it can be very beneficial to you. So
and I should mention that during this tournament, there is 30% off during the tournament to subscribe, and the code is RAPID, RAPID. So do check it out. I think it's a very, very interesting new tool for chess improvement. So you say games going to kick off at 17:35 UK time, that is. So around about 10 minutes time. So let's take a short break, and we will see everyone back for game 2 of the final between Duda and Mamedyarov in around about 8 to 9 minutes.
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Air Things.
The Aimchess Retry Mistakes lesson shows you positions from your own games where you made a mistake, and gives you the opportunity to make a better move, and learn from your own positions. Aimchess analysis boards let you take an opening position you don't recognize, and instantly find videos featuring that position from some of your favorite chess content creators. Aimchess breaks down your games by the opening, and tells you how you're scoring after the first 15 moves, so you can quickly learn which openings work for you, and which you need to practice more.
I'm going to talk about my games from this season of the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour.
The idea of h4 is very direct. I want to play h5, open up the king side, and potentially check my team.
Alan continued with trying to put some pressure here on the e6 pawn. And c5, knight's doing a great job here, both potentially for some attacking ideas, but also defending the e6 pawn.
Rook g8 still doesn't spoil anything, but rook takes g7 is a gross mistake now, because rook c8 is still easily winning.
Hello everybody, I am Grandmaster David Anton Guijarro.
I'm Magnus Carlsen.
My name is Anish Giri. I am a top Grandmaster.
I'm Grandmaster Nils Grandelius from Sweden.
I am Grandmaster Harikrishna Pendala from India.
Now anyone can learn and improve their chess skills with the world champion, Magnus Carlsen. The Magnus Trainer app is packed with fun mini-games and interactive training content, playable anytime, anywhere. Get the Magnus Trainer, available in the App Store and Google Play.
Seriously? Checkmate! Aimchess is an intelligent system that analyzes your game, prevents mistakes, and develops recommendations for improving your skill. Phew!
I'm ahead of the game. Up my rocket, but follow me. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging. I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy. Logically, I'm impossibly wanted. Then they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Ooh.
Hi there, it's me, John Chess, inventor of chess. And are you sick of sucking at chess? Well, lucky for you, I have also invented Aimchess. Look at this chess puzzle. Did you solve it? Of course not, that's because you're not using Aimchess. Aimchess is a digital chess trainer that helps you improve by creating unique lessons based on your recent games. Just link your chess.com or VChess account and feel that brain wrinkle. Yeah, see, you shouldn't have blundered your queen just there. Now I know! Thanks, Aimchess! Now all that's left to figure out is how that funny horse moves. They even got acquired by that one chess player other than Hikaru, so you know it's good. Hi, it's me, that guy I just mentioned, and I am the best chess man in the world. But thanks to Aimchess, I also have a girlfriend now as well. This could be you! Personalized training, game reports and analysis disease, study plans, thick, luscious hair, intuition builder, all this and more available on Aimchess.
Hello?
Courtney, did you know that Aimchess users improve their ratings 43% faster than average?
What?
So what are you waiting for? Join Aimchess today. Links will be somewhere, probably. I don't know, I just made the video. Aimchess. Sign up now and get 50k silver and 2 free months off your VPN. Now that's what I call a Queen's Gambit. That's so fucking dumb. Aimchess, for when you aim to chess. That's their slogan. It's what they say. Ready, aim, chess. That's another. Look, just sign up for Aimchess, okay? Just, come on, literally, why not? Alright, just stop being a dick for like 5 seconds and just go, alright? Jesus Christ.
Welcome back. Game 2 of the final of the Aimchess Rapids, and Game 2 has started already. They needed a good 15 minutes to recover from that exhausting first game. Simon, are you feeling drained by that first game?
Certainly, yeah. Well, if I see too many more games like that, I'll start to feel tired. Shall we put it like that? So yeah, I hope we get a bit more action in this one, Danny.
Yeah, I think we could be just getting a regular Queen's Gambit accepted actually. If no, I was hoping he was going to play d4 and then c5 and castles. But
this is a very interesting setup, isn't it, Danny? I mean, I've played this myself this kind of way quite a lot, and it can be quite aggressive for white actually. If black castles and the queen comes to c2, it's a bit like a reverse can. Is it can?
Yeah.
Sicilian? Yeah,
and you do all that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, one idea used as h4, knight g5, that kind of thing, as well. But I like what Shaq's done here. He's starting to maybe play something on the queen side himself.
Yeah. If we did get something like that, I'd be delighted. I think I have a funny feeling that it's going to be a little bit more pedestrian. And I have a funny feeling that we're going to see something like, well, okay, this is a big moment. Is he going to allow b5 and then the bishop will drop back to b2? And then we're going to get one of these very solid positions, knight on d7, bishop on b7, playing d4, lots of piece swaps. That's far away from the strategy you're describing. Or is he going to try and... Is he going to play a4? It feels a bit funny, doesn't it?
It feels a bit ugly, a4, but
yeah.
It's that square you've highlighted. I mean, in these kind of positions, the white queen often wants to come to c2.
Exactly.
And you really could never move it there if you play a4.
Yeah.
I was thinking this move, Danny. This looked very interesting because the queen might be able to pop out to f3 if b5. Yes. And that could... Or maybe the bishop just comes around to f3. So this knight jump looks pretty okay, I think. I like this idea a lot.
Yeah, I think that's definitely an interesting way of playing it, because I was fearing that we were going to get something like this, where we'd get a position which is, this can be pretty dry. We get this and here, and I mean, there's a lot of intrigue, but it's kind of a slow burner.
Yep.
Whereas knight e5, definitely more interesting. Now, how are we going to follow up? This is the thing.
Well, I mean, I would love to play F4, being a Dutch player and a Birds player on occasions. And he has played it. I mean, this is heating up, because this it's actually a very dangerous setup for Black. If Black is not careful, Black can get in a lot of trouble in the center on the king side in a lot of lines, Danny. Right?
Okay, we've got a really interesting game on our hands now. This is good news. This is very good news. And Black has to be careful when to play b5. So, for example, if b5 here, I'd be a little bit concerned about queen f3 hitting this one. And I mean, I don't know whether Black can get away with this. And then
maybe there's a bishop b7, but it's
I mean,
maybe.
What's going on here?
Oh, I don't know. Don't make me calculate yet.
Yeah, I know.
This
might get away with that, actually. But in any case, queen f3 is an interesting move in this position.
Certainly. And I suppose as backup, Danny, you can always go bishop e2 to f3 in these positions and sort of claim that actually this is a very good diagonal that we're probably going to control anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean bishop that's a lot more sensible, of course. But f4, we've got just by virtue of the fact the f pawn is advanced, we've got a really interesting game on our hands. Let's have a little look at Duda. I've got him on my second computer. Let me just have a look. Yeah, I like the way he looks like a kind of master of the universe in his chair there.
He does. He's got very good posture, shall I say?
Nice posture.
I mean, here's me sort of all hunched over, in my gaming chair, and Duda's sitting back. He's very look at that, doing his fingers. He's definitely got the better posture of the two players, I feel there. So yeah,
he looks relaxed. Shaq looks like he's well. I've got to watch my words here, actually.
Well, not in front of me. You don't anyway. So, I'm just seeing if we've had this position before, because I would imagine that this is a new position.
Give me the lowdown on the GChess database. Come on.
Yeah, I would do. So knight e5 has been played by Jean-Luc Chabanon, who's a French Grandmaster, I believe, in 2019. And he played it against another pretty strong player, but white faced b5 then. And I think the move, as far as I can see, knight bd7 is a new position. So we have, which is great to see. I love it when we get a totally unique opening position after only 8 moves, actually 7 moves, which is very rare nowadays, isn't it? To be honest, I mean, like nearly always the positions have been, analyzed much deeper. So that's good. And I will be honest, we have a move I would never consider here, but it just looks like something's going to happen on the diagonal, Danny, doesn't it? But obviously, Shaq's calculated that that's not a real issue. It looks scary. G6, Danny.
Okay, so let's just go through the basics.
Sure.
Knight takes knight. Obviously, if knight takes, then there's a rook hanging in the corner, and if queen takes, then the knight hangs. However, bishop takes is actually fine for Black. So white doesn't want to do that. So if Black has time to play bishop g7 and castles, then actually this setup makes a lot of sense to my eyes, because it's going to be more difficult, and that kind of shuts out white's attack. Now, I suppose the question is, I'm reaching for that g pawn. Is there some kind of mileage in putting it to g5 and then trying to get an attack on the dark squares? But I mean, it's a bit hit and hopish.
I mean, if it works, it's going to be very strong. So I think in positions like this, you're showing obviously the right way to think. You've got to think of the most critical moves first. because that diagonal is actually very dangerous towards that black's bishop on, sorry, white's bishop on b2's on. So
the problem is this knight doesn't get into the game.
Yeah.
If we could somehow bring this knight to some critical square, in combination with g5. I mean, e4 is the ideal square, but in getting it there, it will block the bishop. I just think, for me, that's kind of the critical piece in this position. How do we get this one into the game? I mean, that's often the question in the Dutch as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is, yeah, because you can never really find a great square for that knight. And often you have to sort of play around, until later on you find somewhere. But, I mean, also, Danny, looking at black's pieces, I mean, black's got this light square bishop. We can see where black's dark square bishop is, but it could come down to that light square bishop, because if black can get that on the diagonal we've mentioned, b7, I'd imagine black's doing absolutely fine with two fianchetto bishops, but it's not so simple to do after a move like queen f3. We just put the queen on f3, a good square for the queen, and maybe we can move the knight to e2 or e4, and get all the pieces in the game. And it feels like a little bit more harmonious for white here, this position possibly.
Yeah, that's interesting. He's gone a4 to prevent.
Okay.
B5, but yeah, queen f3. I mean, can we knock the queen off its perch somehow? I mean, it's not so easy, is it?
No, I mean, it stops black's idea of pushing the b pawn, and we're not committing on the queen side. But the move played makes a lot more sense than in the previous position, because black has committed his queen side knight. So the b4 square is not a concern for white anymore. So we can clamp down on the b5 idea and forever with this move, right? Hopefully, from white's perspective. Yeah.
Okay, so what are we going to do? Just castle here?
Yeah, I think castling looks, get the pieces in the game first. Looks very sensible.
And then black does the same. I mean, I like this. Yeah, he's both sides castle. That's what we've got on the board.
Sure.
I mean, I do like this setup on the king side.
Yeah.
Absolutely rock solid.
I think this is a very clever idea, Danny, wasn't it? As you said, if black hadn't played g6, the black king is always a target to rook swingers, to many tactical ideas. So I go along what you're saying there. Definitely a more solid setup for black here.
But you mentioned that white no longer has to worry about a knight coming into b4. But I mean, I'm actually looking at moves like, well, a couple of things. Either knight d5, which perhaps preempts taking on e5, and then potentially could reach there, or even knight b6 and knight d5, and has potential to come here as well. I mean, eventually this bishop has to come into the game. I mean, I'm thinking sort of knight d5. I mean, I know it's white's move, but
sure.
Yeah, knight d5. But okay, what are we going to do with white? I mean, queen f3 still feels like a decent option to me.
Yeah, queen f3. There's also another weird plan I was just thinking of. I like queen f3, but you did pinpoint white's problem piece, the knight on b1, and it's always worth thinking, where's the ideal square for that knight? And it's actually where the white bishop is.
Right.
So, because that stabilizes a lot of squares in the center, maybe some weak squares on the queen side that black has, like b6. So if I play knight a3 here, with the idea of retreating my bishop, because the bishop's actually only good if we get some attack, which I don't think we're going to get. And if we retreat that bishop and put the knight there, that kind of seems like quite a sensible setup for white to go for.
All right. So, we mentioned this bishop and whether this can actually get in the game. At the moment, I'm still a bit worried by queen f3 actually, and knight c6 obviously. So let me start with my move knight d5 and see what happens there.
Okay, so am I worried about you now doing something on e5? I don't think so. So let's say I continue my plan, Danny, and just going bishop e2.
Okay. Then I think I want to kind of b6, knight c4. Do I have time to? Yeah, bishop b7, knight d6. You're getting in there. That's true.
There might also be a knight c6 and I get rid of the dark square bishops. I don't know if that helps me, but sometimes it could do. But it seems like a very sensible setup, doesn't it, this for white? Because at least white, all of white's minor pieces are very logically placed. And black's pieces, let's just look at black's pieces. I mean, the light square bishop, this is the problem, Danny. If that doesn't get to the diagonal, it's a real stinker of a piece. That's my professional term, stinker.
Yeah, no
stinker piece.
Yeah. I think Aimchess technology uses the same expression. I'm sure it's in the AI algorithm. It's a stinker. Okay, well let me just do this.
Sure.
I'm assuming that, and now I want to get this bishop into play. So b6, knight here, there. Okay, let's just play bishop here.
Okay, so I'd like to play knight c4. I'm just a little bit worried about b5. If I can play two moves as white, knight c4 and a5, I'm very happy because I got a lovely grip on this is the ideal kind of way to do stuff on the queen side positionally. But b5 is something that slightly concerns me, and I'd rather.
I mean that was kind of my idea.
Sure. I don't really want to allow that. So is there a way I can be clever and try to? I mean, I can go maybe. I was thinking something to the c file to hit your pawn. Does that help me? I'm not sure.
Rook,
probably rook c1. Yeah, makes sense to try to tie you down a little bit to that pawn.
Now,
I think I prefer white here. By the way, we have a move, Danny, in the game which.
Oh, interesting. Well, your idea just to cramp. I mean positionally it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Definitely, good positional move there.
Yeah. I think that gets to the heart of the position, really, doesn't it? White isn't going to. Oh, he's gone knight d5, similar, but white isn't going to checkmate, not at the moment. So it's about claiming these squares, and the support for this pawn is undermined by this pawn advance a5. So it's kind of interesting. I'm guessing that the knight's gone back to d3. Oh, so this is very positional.
Very positional, yeah.
Because I was thinking that black would want to perhaps just play queen c7. Well, even taking on e5 and playing queen c7. So he's preempting that, and he is looking at that pawn on c5. So that is a slight problem for black.
I quite like white's position, Danny. I mean, getting rid of the dark square bishops really favors white generally, because black's king is always going to be a little bit weak with the dark squares, as I think we're aware. And if we look at the queen side as well, I also like white on the queen side because black's got the bishop, he can't move, and he's got this nice pawn to a5 cramping things down. So it seems like white's a little bit better on every part of the board, or am I being a bit over-optimistic for white's chances?
No, I hear what you're saying. I mean, black has a problem here. I mean, this hasn't happened yet, but let me just try something. I mean, what if I'm just very brazen? I just say, okay, look, it's not ideal. I know this can be taken en passant. I've got a couple of isolated pawns. However, if I can bring this bishop into play, this is actually quite a nice piece. I can perhaps occupy d4. I'm just saying, is this so bad? I'm not sure.
No, I like this plan. I mean, I think black has to do something like this, because otherwise black's going to be far too passive. Yeah, black's got these split pawns on the queen side, but your pieces are now finding good squares, right? So this is a good plan for black, I'm sure. And if you can take that bishop, black's light square bishop could be a real killer on the long diagonal when it gets there. So white would have to make a big decision here. Does he allow the capture, or does he retreat the bishop? Which I'm trying to work out what he
has exchanged. So this is the moment where I want to play b5, but Mamedyarov might have something else in mind. Let's see. I mean, what else could you do? To be honest, I don't like fiddling around with sort of moves like knight f6. I know, you can get the. I mean, maybe. I mean, this might not be too bad. It's a bit slower. That's the only thing. I'm just concerned. Yeah, he's gone b5. I think that's the right decision, because I think he just needs to free himself just very quickly and bring his pieces into play. and kind of hang the consequences, you know.
No, I totally agree. And look at Black's pieces now. I mean, Shaq's managed to get all his pieces to pretty decent squares, right?
Yeah.
So good play.
I don't think it's too bad, actually.
No, I agree.
You know, I would still say white is slightly better. You know, knight here and potentially knight here, but you know, black is very active. I'd quite like to sort of get in e5 if possible, and you know, somehow, you know, use that bishop on the long diagonal. You know, eventually, you know, e5 takes, get a queen to g5, something like that. I've got a lot of paint on the board. Sorry.
It's okay. I know in the Dutch, one of the normal responses that white does when e5 comes is to go f5, which is always a very fun way to meet that move, which I'd be wanting to play. But black's still playing with the pieces, opening up the bishop and potentially trying to come into a square there. I mean,
yeah, I mean, you know, there are, you know, white also has a couple of pawns which, you know, backward and, you know, isolated. So I suspect this is okay for black, actually. You know, that, you know, I was slightly concerned about a knight hopping in via c4 to a5, but actually it can live on d5. So it's actually okay. Clock times 9:43. Shaq and Jan-Krzysztof just under 7 minutes.
Nothing to worry about yet. So.
Not yet, no. Not yet. But actually, for considering that we've played how many moves? 15 moves or something? 16 moves. Quite slow, actually.
Now, what happens if white tries to bring his knights towards the center? So I like knight on a to c4. Okay. Looks like a very normal move to play. And just try to, you know, hold some of the squares on the queen side. I mean, white's advantage, the reason I think we're saying white could be a little bit better here is generally the pawn structure. White's only got one weak pawn, really. I say one, there's the d2 pawn, but b3 is really the main weakness. But black has these two pawns, which on the queen side, which are targets. So I would say white has the better pawn structure. And both sides' pieces are pretty even-ish, I would have thought. Queen c1, though, played Danny, and this is just hitting the pawn immediately and maybe hinting that the queen can come up 2 squares at some point as well.
Yeah.
Maybe not now because it will get hit, but potentially. And Shaq just defends the pawn on pre-there.
I'm a bit surprised by queen c1, actually. I'm not quite sure. I mean, maybe it's just that it's a sort of more forcing move. With knight c4, and the reason, if I just go back, because I'd quite like to answer knight there with knight d5, but in that case, I think white really does achieve something because you're going to be able to swipe the bishop, and I think that's quite nice, actually. So in this position, because the queen has actually moved away from d8, then Shaq has had to exchange. Yeah, I think that little clearance has probably helped white, actually. I mean, now the queen does have a decent square.
Yeah.
If knight here, I think I'd quite like to go to e5. I'd like to tempt f6.
Right. Okay.
To, you know, draw those pawns forward.
Sure.
Ultimately, actually, you know, it could weaken black's king.
I mean, there's also, I mean, just looking at black's king, as we've mentioned, the weaknesses on the dark squares there, because when you put your pawns on one color squares, the light squares, the opposite color squares become very weak. And you know, white would love to go knight e5 to g4. You know, if he had 2 moves, that's just the kind of thing that you could go straight in. Rook f2, okay, that's a little bit mysterious to my eyes, Danny, that one.
Very careful move. I mean, I know there are slight weaknesses here. F6 has come anyway. I mean, maybe he was a little bit concerned about knight e5. I mean, if we come back, instead of... Yeah, I mean, we can just go knight e5.
I mean, I'd love to put my knight on g4 because it's actually quite strong. I've got some very strong threats there. I'm threatening mate, knight h6, queen h8, checkmate. I'm threatening knight f6. So you have to do something with the black pieces here. I mean, maybe you can play f6 anyway and claim that the white knight is actually after maybe king somewhere.
I'm going to go king g7.
Yeah.
Cold-blooded.
Yes.
It's actually probably okay for black, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I don't have enough firepower to back that up, really.
So it's gone rook f2 and f6. And I was claiming that this sort of weakened black's king, which it does to a certain extent, but at the moment, very hard to see how white can actually get in there. And yeah, I mean, Shaka's just managed to develop pretty nicely. H4.
Well, Danny, you know, always a good move in every single position of ever.
Without doubt.
So, if you are in doubt, it seems to be the move to play nowadays, right? But it makes a lot of sense in. No, you're not so sure by the sounds of that.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think it's really interesting because I think his idea might actually be to bring up the G pawn.
I was thinking that, but I was like,
bring the rook over, and then bring that, and that definitely makes sense of the rook coming to f2.
Yeah. Good move from Shak though, because Shak needs to formulate some plan, and he's found that white does have a weak square on d3, and if he can try to get make some exchanges and get a rook in there, he might be able to get some counterplay. I love white's knight though. This is a real problem for black's position. White's knight defends everything. He has potential to come forwards. So definitely preferring white again. Has he played g4? He has, Danny. Well done. He's gone for it.
The thing is, actually, I think just advancing the h pawn on its own makes very little sense, frankly, because you can't back it up with anything.
Sure.
Whereas it was just the prelude to playing the g pawn forward. I mean, if we're talking about from an ultra strict positional sense, then this looks very logical from white's viewpoint to put the pawn on g5. So we play g5, you hope that there's going to be an exchange here, recapture. And positionally, you've conquered the e5 square. Looks fantastic. And, rook f2 just guards the king a little bit. I mean, here you do have an option to go for this, but I think it's g5 he wants to make.
Oh, certainly g5, definitely. I mean, you want to weaken those dart squares from the white perspective. The pawn on f6 is blocking a lot of white's ideas. And positionally speaking, the white knight, if you can move the pawn on f6, has another great square in the center of the board, the e5 square, so it can tuck itself in there. And you can go g5 and you can go h5 later on as well, with the rook coming over. I would be a little bit, well, not a little bit, I'd be uncomfortable if I was black here, because you can sort of see what's happening. And I'd be like trying now to create some counterplay, maybe a little bit desperately, because white's plan is very straightforward. G5, H5, swing the rook attack. So I don't know. I really like what Dude has done here, actually. I think he's done some very clever stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think, where is black's counterplay here? I want to try and use this knight.
Yeah.
I would, I'd love to be able to swing that knight into d3. Then we can see how a6 is a real problem for black, because if white can swipe that, well, it's an extra pawn. But also, white's rook starts to look really tasty on that square. So actually, we can see that weak pawn is really hampering black's counterplay here. And that pawn on d2 with our, best piece on the board, knight c4, solidly protected. Not an easy position for black at all. I'm struggling to find an active plan here, actually.
What if you put the bishop into d3? I'm just trying to get a square in the middle of the board. I want to use that square for my rook or something. I don't know how effective this is going to be, because, again, the white knight, it guards pretty much everything.
Well, what if I just continue? G5.
Yeah, okay. Now you are actually... I mean, I think I'd like to play bishop takes bishop, but you go pawn takes pawn. You play this intermezzo move, and that is just a very strong move. So I can't actually play that. I have to do something about this situation. So I don't really like it. The f5. Let's say I play this for now.
Okay.
I'd much rather be playing the white moves, by the way, Danny.
Yeah.
in this position. I think that looks...
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, even
the best way forward,
sure,
maybe even 95.
Yeah, I mean, H5 was looking very dangerous as well, but 95 is another good move.
Cover D3 first.
Yeah, sure.
And then absolutely,
just get on with it.
H5, Rook H2. And I mean, that looks, I think, very promising indeed. And actually, it's really interesting. I should say that's not on the board. Queen G7 played. Okay. What he wants to do is try and exchange queens and get some counterplay like that, I think. But yet, I think it's really interesting how, when Duda played, let's just go back a few moves. So in this position, Duda went Rook F2, and we're going, what?
Yeah.
And actually, it was all about these moves. I think it's really interesting. So Queen G7. So I suppose he's looking to exchange queens.
I guess he wants to play pawn takes pawn in this position, right? Because if you go F5, the knight still comes in. So this is...
So this?
Is most likely Black's idea, yeah. And
then, okay, let's have a look. Yeah, at the moment, that one... I mean, this is a very nice structure, but there is still a weakness on D2. So this might actually be okay for Black, or alternatively,
he's played in the game. He's played F5. Now, structurally, that's a better move from Black.
Yeah,
but it does allow the move that we see Duda now played. The knight comes in, avoiding exchange of queens, and this H pawn that White's got is going to be very dangerous. I mean, it's simply threatening to come up. When you have two options, you can either take on G6, open up the H file. You might be able to play H6 in some positions as well, right? Looks
I'm really surprised he's gone for F5.
Yeah.
When I assumed, it's a compromise to take here. But is that so bad? I'm not sure, because this is a weak one. I would, of course, I would pick White every time. I mean, maybe. I was going to say try and move the king into the middle to protect the D pawn, but that that knight is lurking. Maybe Black, I was going to say, tries to double on the D file, but actually that knight is very annoying. It's better for White. It's better for White. I think
definitely better for White. Yeah.
Mamadjarov has a tough choice. How do you compromise here? Very difficult. And this looks lovely.
Well, what a knight that is. I mean. I'd love to play knight c6 in these positions, but I'm always going to be losing a pawn, as you pointed out. I mean, and it is just a clear pawn.
In fact, in this position, there is a simple threat. Bishop takes pawn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the knight is already on e5.
Black needs to find some good moves here, I think, to hold the balance. And looking at the clock situation, Mamadjarov had a nice time edge, but now he's gone down to 3.5 minutes, and it's not the kind of position you want. With
I think he's getting outplayed here. Okay, well, let's try this. Let's see knight c6, because if we can get rid of that knight, then there might be a chance to counterattack. I can see lots of reasons why this is also a pretty rubbish move as well, actually.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that bishop coming to c4 in some position.
I'm getting a bit desperate. I'm looking at the white knight, and I'm thinking I can't allow the white knight to live in the center of the board. I need to exchange it off.
He's played it.
He's played it. I think it's a good positional try. Even if White's a lot better here, you've got to get rid of that knight. This is the only way you can ever eliminate that knight.
All right. So how are we going to try and control this with... All right, let's...
Well, I guess
let me make an obvious move. Let me take this and see what happens.
Yeah.
Now,
do I play queen takes queen first to try and... I think I probably do play this one, so my c pawn's a little bit safer. Now, the check on e7, is that also another idea? It's getting very complex. Maybe check on e7 is a good idea here, because you win on a6 with a rook.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, all of these positions, White's a little bit better, but Black has the d file. Who knows, Danny? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know whether rook probably rook takes, actually, because I was, of course, looking at rook d2, but I can just move the bishop, to c4. So, well, how much better is this? This is the question. Bishop d5. Is this terrible? Because
Maybe-
just for a moment, the rooks are kind of split.
Yeah.
And, something like c4, then,
Come back,
black
yeah.
is going to be reasonably happy there.
Sure.
So, maybe, well, I mean, I think it's very logical to exchange off the knight.
Yeah, this seems like a good plan. From
Okay, what if we keep the queens on? What if we just play rook a6?
Mhm.
Let's have a little look at this. So this and this. What's the story? How bad is it for black? Black's a pawn down. I'd like to play bishop c4.
Yeah.
Pawn is attacked.
And this is, of course, a forcing position, so black can't avoid getting this if Duda chooses.
Bishop d5.
Yeah, bishop d5 looks very sensible, but
actually, this is on the board.
Okay, he's been.
This is happening. I mean, it just looks like a clear advantage to me.
It is a pawn.
Now, the only thing is, White's king doesn't have a lot of pawn cover. So if there is a counterattack, then, there are chances for black. But at the moment, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he's going to play pawn takes rather than exchange queens. It's funny, he's hesitating, actually.
Pawn takes makes a lot more sense to me as well, because the black queen is quite inactive, so why exchange it
queen
off?
takes. He's played
queen takes, right.
Okay.
Maybe he was worried about his king becoming a target around the back. But what happens after rook takes d2? That's the logical question to ask here. When black's rook does certainly look a bit active, at least here.
I'm surprised. I mean, I suppose he's going to take here, but I'm still surprised at this because, these...
You've got stuff like rook a8 as well now, and, a bit of counterplay maybe.
Okay, well, let's see how, this is potentially quite dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is scary. Yeah, I mean, that's on the board. There we go.
Okay.
10 out of 10. Yeah, I'm surprised he's gone in for this. I've got to say, unless there's some very clean move here that consolidates. I mean, the thing is, bishop c4, then, maybe it's just bishop c4.
Yeah.
But what about a check?
Well, rook f1, I'd imagine here. Otherwise, it might be a perpetual. Then just king takes.
D5.
And rook e6. How's this ending?
Oh, that's what he's seen.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. So obviously, bishop takes wins material, and so he's got to go for the rook and pawn endgame. And he's probably just thinking that this could be enough to win. I think and he's played it. That's exactly what he's seen.
Yeah.
That's what he's seen. And this is happening. So this is actually a very clever calculation. He wants an end game where there's no risk. But Mamadjarov has bounced back. Two.
Allowing bishop takes pawn check, but...
Okay. Let's have a look. This hasn't happened yet.
At least a draw here for black, at least. Yeah.
This is just a draw, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. There's no way black can win, but this would be a draw.
Yeah.
That's a very clever move, isn't it? Rook d2. Very, very easy to miss, actually, from the white perspective. Okay, so he's gone for the bishop check. And, I mean, I don't know where the king is best placed to go. I mean, your king g7 makes a lot of sense. He's gone in the corner. That, to me, looks like the most unsafe place for the black king.
I think he just wants maybe just ruling out a check or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's actually very interesting. Let me just show a very silly variation. So, if bishop takes rook, as we've said, rook g2 looks like a draw. But if rook here,
yeah.
Okay, just bear with me. Just bear with me.
Gotcha.
Here, and white's playing for the win. Oh no, white was playing for the win, and that's checkmate. Oh, he's gone rook a1.
I was thinking about this, Danny, because this is why I'm not sure about the black king, right? I mean, in a lot of lines, the back rank is really, really weak. I mean, it's
incredible. Rook g8 mate.
Yeah, luckily Black's bishop does cover the E8 square.
Yeah.
Very murky, murky position.
No, we could still get. I mean, for the sake of illustration.
Sure.
Well, not let's.
Yeah.
So this one, and then we've got mate on G8. That's what I'm talking about, of course.
You're finding a lot of good self-mates here, Danny.
Yeah, I know. I like mating two problems. I really like mating two problems.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's a good thing. I love seeing a checkmate on the board, so I'll never complain to see that.
So I'm going to say that Rook A1 actually allows the king just to come over here. Oh, I've gone green. Why have I gone green? I don't know how I did that. Do you prefer green or yellow?
I prefer my green better, I think.
You like green? Yeah. Okay, let's see.
I like a bit of green.
Yeah, okay, we'll go green.
Yeah,
yeah. So that's why the rook, obviously to attack, but the king does have a square. That's not on the board yet. So that's the position. The rook is attacked. Okay, so we better move the rook to a better square.
I mean, rook d8 makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, we're just keeping things as protected as possible. And I'm kind of like, if I was white here, I'd like to try and make rook d6 work, but it doesn't work. I don't think. You just take it twice because the black bishop is a very good piece guard and everything. It's a kind of discombobulator move I really want to play, but I don't have a follow-up here because you are covering that back rank. So I don't think it works. I mean, this ending still, I mean, what is this ending like if I go bishop c4? Because the black king is really badly placed. I assume that black is fine, but if the king comes to f4, Danny, now, I mean, you need one more move and white is really pushing, I think here. I don't believe it.
Okay, but so rook d8, before we plunge in into d6, because I'm not quite sure what black is doing at the other end of the board. He's thrown in a check. He's thrown in a check.
But and he's gone. Oh wow!
He wants to play f4. He's going on the attack.
I just don't believe this somehow. I don't. Okay, why don't I believe this? Then that's the question. If black gets one more move in, okay. So you've got rook f6.
That is well bolted onto the f6 square with these guys.
But how is this? I mean, this is
very scary because that e pawn is now a runner.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary for both sides. And
so yeah, well, let's just show this one. So
sure,
F4, rook here, and position like this. The king is in a kind of mating net, but it's not mate straight away.
I mean, you take on e3 here. What on earth is happening in this position? I mean,
I want to deliver checkmate. I think this looks too scary. Actually, he's gone e6 straight away.
Well, rook h2 has been played.
Yeah, rook h2, e6.
Right. I mean, that last line we looked at was maybe a chance for black, actually, because black, did have those.
Let's have a quick, before we go on, we'll have a very quick look at this.
Yeah.
Here.
You have to take. It looks horrible. I have to agree for black, but I do now.
Well, what about rook d1?
I mean, rook d2 is just not working, is it? You just capture it, so I can't play that.
I think it's probably winning for white, actually. I mean, maybe h6 or something like this, but
or h5. I'll give myself that extra square.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, whatever,
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, so let's look at the game. It's gone. Sorry, just a quick recap. Sure. E6, f4, e7 takes. The king has bounced out. Now, what is going on here? White is now 2 pawns up. Can you hold that pawn?
Look at the time as well. I mean, the time is 10 seconds left.
How are they looking?
Jan-Krzysztof.
Concentration. They are both experts. I mean, Duda, I've seen him go down to the wire.
You know what? Even Shaq has said that he's not very good at blitz compared to some of the other top guys. I mean, obviously that's not true, but I think when it gets shorter time, it definitely is more in Jan-Krzysztof's favor, actually. Duda's not as Shaq is not as used to playing shorter time on the computer.
Right. Okay. I mean, it just feels fantastic for white now. Well, I've just seen the eval bar has just gone
shot up,
complete whiteout.
And I think there's a big problem here. If you take on f4, white gets a rook to f1 after king e3.
Ooh.
And
this is on the board. This
right.
is on the board. I think just, well, there's also just bishop b5 and make a queen.
Right, as well. Yeah, both of these moves crushing. I mean, rook f1, rook f7, bishop. This is
game over. It really is game over.
Yeah.
There we go. Jan-Krzysztof Duda has won the second game. I think that was very, very interesting the way he played it. Let's just go back. It all started with that move, rook f2, which had us completely baffled. And then h4. And then we were slightly less baffled because we realized he was going to play g4, which is actually a very positional way of playing. And then, well, Mamedyarov fighting against the knight on e5. So this move, knight c6, obviously a compromise because it loses this. And we were thinking just pawn takes because the queen holds everything together. But I think that's a really clever idea.
Yeah, I do. I think Mamedyarov might miss something somewhere. Because it collapsed very quickly for him, didn't it? It didn't seem like it should have collapsed that quickly.
It did,
maybe.
It did, but then again, I think Duda, put him under pressure.
Yeah, agreed.
And at this point, we're probably down to only moves.
Yeah.
If Black is going to hold this.
I mean, this is the thing, isn't it, Danny? When you look at a lot of top-level games nowadays, even if the computer says at some point around here it's 0.0, when that doesn't show the whole picture. The whole picture is that you have to find perfect moves to get the draw. Maybe it was 0.0 at some point, but it's always white who's putting the pressure on Mamedyarov. And if you under this constant pressure, it's so easy to slip up. So it was, very clever game by white here. Really, really nice play and very unique actually as well.
Yeah, let's just go to the final position and just explain exactly what was going on there. So here is where Mamedyarov, well, I don't know whether he resigned or lost on time, but it's obviously hopeless. Rook attacked. So let's come here. Now you wanted to play rook f1. Let's just show this with the idea rook f7 followed by rook f8.
But maybe bishop f5 holds a bit here actually. So your move is
and then
it is a bit more. Yeah, your move. This could actually go wrong.
Yes, that could go wrong. All right, bishop b5. Very, very simple. The rook moves, you make a queen, and otherwise, the rook is just lost. So that's the reason Mamedyarov collapsed in this position, basically. So, I mean, I thought that was a really convincing game.
Yeah, I'll go along that. I mean, I thought it was nice play from white the whole way through. Quite a unique opening that he played, and he kept the pressure up against black's position. It was always black who was on the back foot, and smooth. It's kind of a smooth game, that one, really.
Very, very. So that means that we've had two games, 1.5 to Jan-Krzysztof Duda. If Duda manages to win the third game, then I get to the first half of the pub quiz.
Oh, wow. So, Danny, I don't think people know about this. So we were having a chat just before going live. And obviously, I was just wondering what Danny was up to later. I'm not doing anything as exciting myself, but you're going to a pub quiz, Danny. Is this like a regular pub quiz you go to? Or?
It is. Yeah. Every couple of weeks at a pub here in Teddington in southwest London. So, if you go down there with a few mates and... do
you have a specialist subject that you're good at?
Frankly, I do actually. Yeah, they always have a music round. And,
I was going to say music, maybe.
And luckily, the guy that always sets the quiz, he's a big fan of 60s and 70s music, which is kind of my speciality. After 1985, I haven't got a clue what's going on in pop music. I have no idea. But if it's before 1985,
you're pretty good.
60s and 70s music, my speciality. So that's my speciality round.
Yeah, I can see that. Probably maybe the best generations of music, 60s, 70s, possibly. I'm kind of with you there, I have to say. So
well, you're a fan of the Doors, aren't you? You like the Doors.
Well, I got my Doors of Perception.
Oh, you've got your Doors t-shirt on.
Well, it's kind of more Aldous Huxley, but
oh yeah,
that's where the Doors came from, wasn't it? Doors of Perception, Aldous Huxley's book. I am a massive fan of the Doors, though. Yeah, big fan.
Yeah. Well, so, the Doors, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh yeah, all the classics.
Yeah. The Stones, all that. Oh. That's all. I love all. I like all kinds of music, frankly.
Yeah. I'm with you there.
All kinds of stuff, actually. But that's my speciality round.
Cool.
I was going to say, the Roman Empire from AD 32 to 3886, but no, it's basically the music round.
Danny, I'm just being told by someone in the YouTube chat, truth be told, that he saw the Doors in 1970 and he saw Jimi Hendrix twice. Wow, is all I can say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I know that. Okay, fair play.
That is the only thing to say, isn't it? Fair
Can you
play
remember
to you,
anything about the gigs whatsoever? It was those kind of days. I've seen the Stones a couple of times. I saw the Stones this summer, actually.
Did you? I saw them. I don't know, like 5-6 years ago when they were playing in London. So yeah,
I saw them at Hyde Park.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's funny. I was chatting with our friend Julian Hodgson.
Yep.
The other day, and Jules said, "Yeah, I saw the Stones in Hyde Park." I said, "I saw the Stones in Hyde Park." Apparently we went to the same gig. We didn't realise it. There you go. That was on. I would like to have met up with him there, but anyway. Yeah. So yeah, we both saw the Stones in Hyde Park. Keith was he was on fine form. He made it through the gig, so that was good.
Wow, he's a very fit chap, isn't he? For his age, not Keith. Sorry, I'm thinking.
I tell you, Mick was amazing.
Mick, I was thinking Mick, of course. Yeah,
Mick was incredible. He didn't stop, bopping the whole gig. Yeah, Keith was a little less lively.
Well, just the fact that Keith's still alive is pretty impressive, right? So
it's very impressive. Yeah, we should probably come back to the chess.
Okay, I was enjoying that actually. I'm very happy to talk music.
I'll tell you more about the Stones in a second. But anyway, So just a quick recap: 1.5 to Jan-Krzysztof Duda. He needs to win one more game to take this first set on the first day. Remember, there is a second day. There is a second set. Whatever happens today, I think. Let's see. Do we know what time the next game is going to kick off?
We do in the chat. Minutes. I think it's it'd be. Let me just see. It's in about 8 minutes. I think something like that.
8 minutes. Well, okay. Yeah. Well, why don't we take a short break?
Sure.
We'll be back in 5 or 6 minutes. I'll fill up my mug of tea, and we will see you very shortly. About 5 minutes time for game 3.
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Air Things.
The Aimchess Retry Mistakes lesson shows you positions from your own games where you made a mistake, and gives you the opportunity to make a better move, and learn from your own positions. Aimchess analysis boards let you take an opening position you don't recognize, and instantly find videos featuring that position from some of your favorite chess content creators. Aimchess breaks down your games by the opening, and tells you how you're scoring after the first 15 moves, so you can quickly learn which openings work for you, and which you need to practice more.
I'm going to talk about my games from this season of the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour.
The idea of h4 is very direct. I want to play h5, open up the king side, and potentially check my team.
Alan continued with trying to put some pressure here on the e6 pawn. And c5, knight's doing a great job here, both potentially for some attacking ideas, but also defending the e6 pawn.
Rook g8 still doesn't spoil anything, but rook takes g7 is a gross mistake now, because rook c8 is still easily winning.
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Air Things.
The Aimchess Retry Mistakes lesson shows you positions from your own games where you made a mistake, and gives you the opportunity to make a better move, and learn from your own positions. Aimchess analysis boards let you take an opening position you don't recognize, and instantly find videos featuring that position from some of your favorite chess content creators. Aimchess breaks down your games by the opening, and tells you how you're scoring after the first 15 moves, so you can quickly learn which openings work for you, and which you need to practice more.
Welcome back, everyone. Aimchess Rapid. It's the final game 3 of the first day, and they're off. Here we go. Eyes down. What's going on? It's another Nimzo. Simon, are we going to see exactly the same as in game 1? No. Something different.
Slightly different this time, right? I mean, this structure we see on the board is probably one of the most important structures if you want to play d4, the queen's pawn opening you can get, right? I mean, it happens lots and lots of times. Supposed to be pretty equalish, but lots of play in the position.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that Shaq has gone for this bishop f4. So this is there's just not as much theory in this position. Duda wants to break open the position as quickly as possible. I think if he didn't do that, well, we know what Shaq is like. I have a feeling we might have seen the old queenside castling coming very quickly.
You're really trying to force Shaq to castle queenside today, Danny, aren't you?
We still might see it. You never know.
Oh, I mean,
unlikely.
Oh, possibly. I mean, I think this is the way they're moving as well. It must be a theoretical position.
It looks like it to me, yeah.
Yeah. I think White's got to be a little bit more careful in this position compared to Black because look at the kings, right? I mean, Black has castled, and Black's got pretty decent development, more pieces developed than White. And, you know, it will take White 3 moves to castle kingside. He can castle queenside, but it just feels so loose. I mean, I've tried this kind of stuff before and regretted it normally quite seriously, but what should White do here? I mean, long-term wise, White probably has the better chances because this pawn in the middle is isolated and White can pressurize that. But short-term, it seems like Black has the easier position to play at least.
I mean, of course, I'm looking at long castles, but okay, let's play a sensible move. Interestingly, after knight f3, if Black just played bishop takes c5, then we have transposed to a highly theoretical variation of the bishop f4 queen's gambit. I mean, this is a really well-known position, except normally the bishop goes from e7 to c5, but in this case, it's gone from b4 to c5. But I think it's the same position. But of course, Black doesn't need to capture on c5. You can play queen a5, knight. I don't know which one. Knight e4, queen a5.
Just so you know, Danny, I just thought I'd have a quick look on the database about this position. Oh, knight. Okay, so the highest rated game that seems being played on this was 2020, Fabiano Caruana versus Dominguez. So two incredibly strong players, and Dominguez actually won that game with the black pieces against Fabiano, and it was very interesting. After knight to f3, this very logical move, Dominguez played d4.
Oh, straight away.
Which is very logical, right? You want to open up the white king. And now we got the queenside castling. So knight f3 has been played.
Well, that's what I was wondering. I wasn't quite, because I was just wondering about this and thinking castles queenside. How does Black deal with this?
And then Dominguez played just bishop takes c5 here. And I suppose the idea is long-term compensation. I can just tell you a couple more moves. Pawn takes pawn, obviously very logical. And now he played bishop d6.
Oh.
And I think he's arguing that the white king is weaker, right? So it's worth a pawn with knight b4, maybe bishop f5, rook c8, all those moves that you're
right.
But in actual fact, this position after bishop d6 has been seen, let me have a look, like actually nearly a dozen times according to my database. And Lucas Van Forest has played this with the white pieces. So it might be the theoretical stuff.
I have to say, I mean, if you can get away with d4, then I like it. You know, it's the most active move.
Hikaru's played this online on chess.com as well, with Black. So it's approved. It's approved, yeah. Approved plan for black.
I mean, d4 is very logical. It's funny, you know, I was just looking at this thinking, oh, this looks a bit, get away with this. But I mean, it can't be the only move. Like I said, queen a5 also, also feels like it's worth a punt, as is knight e4. So that we can just take here. I mean, I think if white decides to castle queenside here, I might be quite happy. Queen a5.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, knight e4. I suppose bishop d3. That might be a bit annoying.
Well, we have a move, Danny. I'm a little bit disappointed by this because the positions after d4 were looking a lot of fun, and bishop takes c5 was the most commonly played move in that position. It's been played 31 times. Oh wow, he's castled queenside. Anyway, okay, which has only been played twice.
Really?
But Jan's played this. Gustafsson.
I'm trying to work out how this compares with the normal bishop f4 line.
Well, if you play d4, I think it's a direct transposition. If black plays d4 here, but black doesn't have to play d4, right?
No.
So there's definitely other possibilities, and
yeah, I mean it's a bit different from the normal Queen's Gambit decline with bishop f4 because a3 hasn't been included.
The computer, by the way, really likes the one I'm running on G-Chess. It really likes black's position here.
And is it recommending d4?
No, knight b4, and it gives it as basically a winning advantage. Yeah, with the idea if you go queen b1, g6,
and bishop f5. Wow, that's
very basic. Idea. Yeah,
very interesting.
I mean, castling is such a. I mean, you got what you wanted, Danny. You got Shaq castling queenside, but it's very risky, isn't it? Incredibly risky move.
But we've seen him do this kind of thing before. It's interesting. Okay, so after knight b4, queen b3, what about that one?
Yeah. Well, I guess we got bishop f5 again, haven't we? Just going bishop c2 this time.
Oh. Bishop. Well, what about knight b4? d4.
Okay. Well, I guess we could just take that one off, and if you take the knight, I take on c3. Oh, you go this way, okay.
There's a5 on with the job.
Yeah.
And okay, let me just show this one. a3. Oh, takes away the square from the queen. Yeah. That's quite sweet, actually. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, bishop c2 isn't. Well, it's possible, but the queen still has a square.
I mean, just comparing the kings here, I mean, it's extremely dangerous, this way of playing for white.
Yeah, I mean but actually, this move, let's say bishop b5. I mean, this could be quite an annoying move anyway because you can't shift the knight.
You can't move it,
and then black just I don't know, queen b6, queen e6.
Yeah, maybe,
I don't know which.
Maybe your knight e4 move at some point as well. You know, this kind of stuff is coming, right?
This feels fantastic for black.
It does.
Because the queen is terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible.
We didn't get this, Danny. We actually maybe missed an opportunity there.
So we were, just to recap for everyone watching, we were looking at knight b4, which does look incredibly dangerous. Instead, he's gone bishop e6. And in a flash, knight g5 comes. In this direction, looking here as well. I think.
Yeah, and now white's generating some ideas as well, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
This is just a real mess, isn't it? I think now, a real mess. I mean, this configuration of the knight and queen like this can be very dangerous because if you go h6, you've always got h4, right? I mean, this is just you don't have to play this, but you can't ever really get rid of that knight. So it's a nice configuration to remember from the white point of view. Knight there, queen there. Just try to get rid of the knight on f6 then, and you win. So
yeah, I mean,
simple as that.
You know, in this position, you know, White, I think, is already threatening a move like Bishop C4 and just taking here.
Right. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
I mean, whether H6, H4 is included, I don't think it really matters. You know, he's gone Knight B4 now.
Oh, it's really heating up now. I love this. This is getting very exciting already. I mean, if you go, I'd like to go Queen B1, right? Keep my queen on that diagonal if I can.
I'm a bit worried about the king now.
Yes.
Because, you know, Black is going to do the same kind of thing. If A3, then A5 is going to happen. Yeah. As day follows night. So what about Rook C8? Let's just line up.
Yeah. Well, Bishop E5.
Okay.
I've got an idea.
With a threat.
And it also does a bit of defending as well.
Why not? Why exactly? Okay, so I mean, obviously a really serious threat.
Oh, maybe you just go G6 though, and you got this Bishop F5 idea, and you stop the mates.
Yeah, I guess you could whip that off.
Yeah,
I'll show you the move I wanted to play was this.
Aha, calm.
Just let you in.
Let me in. Yeah,
go on. Because the queen's beautiful on F6.
Yeah, this is looking really good for Black, isn't it? These lines, I think. Yeah, I think all of these lines are favouring Black. I mean, I'm really going for a one-trick idea of trying to checkmate you on H7. And if that doesn't work, my king's going to get busted on the queen side. So,
I mean, I think, at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's going to help Black, isn't it? You know, opens up the F5. Let's go back. So basically, this is the position. Shaq has to think. Thing is, Queen B1 is such a kind of do or die move because it obviously leaves the king completely stuck. So, I mean, either Queen D2 or, I mean, Queen B3 is really the move I want to make.
Sure.
But I don't know whether we include taking here first.
You might do, because again, this Bishop F5, Danny, doesn't this transpose sort of, except the knight's on G5, and maybe the knight's even worse on G5.
Could be even worse.
Because you can't centralize it now, and it's actually just hitting at thin air. So Bishop C2, a big threat.
Let's whip it off then.
I think we've got to get rid of that guy.
Then I'll go Queen here. I'm a bit worried about Knight G4 though.
Yeah, and also if we just look at the position, I think the problem here for White is that he can't attack the Black King anymore. There's no way you can attack the Black King. You haven't got any pieces that can aim at the Black King. You haven't really got any pawn breaks, but Black can attack White's king. You know, you've got the C file, you've got the A pawn, you've got annoying moves like this, as you pointed out, Danny. I don't like this position for White at all. Really don't.
And he's taken on E6.
Yeah.
I wonder, and he's gone Queen B3, but this looks really dodgy for Shaq. Really, really dodgy. I'm going to start with Knight G4. Why not? Because, you know, both these points look so sensitive.
Yeah. I mean, how do I defend that? I don't want to play Rook D2, but maybe I have to, right?
He's got to play Rook D2. Unless, okay, what about Knight E4?
Oh, Knight E4, okay.
Knight E4 is kind of interesting. Although I don't believe this.
I mean, Queen B6 or something?
Queen B6 takes two. Queen B6, yeah. Takes check. F2's hanging, so this is hanging. Looks so dodgy for White, so dodgy. Oh, yeah. Okay, so all right. Well, let's fall back on Rook D2.
Okay.
Now, is there?
This maybe just the simple A5. I say simple, but you can play on both sides of the board here, right? And I mean, there might be something stronger. I agree, but just A5 is always. I was looking at this, but I wanted to defend my knight in these positions. And then Queen F6. Okay.
Queen F6, hit that
one.
And then next move.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this is all utterly irrelevant because he's played. There we go. He's gone Rook C8. And now, after King B1, Duda's having a think here. Well, it doesn't stop him playing Knight G4. Something to consider. He's gone King H8.
Very safe move, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, I think it's quite funny. We're both looking at the kind of, right, route one, straight ahead, attack something. would that have come into your head? It would not have come into my head. I'm telling you.
Not in a million years, because I mean, I can see the white queen is lined up against the black king, but you're castling on opposite sides. I feel every tempo is so important in these kind of positions, and what move is more useful, king h8 or white developing a piece connecting the rook? So I don't know. I don't really trust king h8. It's one of those ones where you could be losing the initiative with these kind of slow moves. I don't know what else you play here. I'll be honest, but
interesting. King h8, bishop e2 straight away, and suddenly white's position is just a lot more secure. These knight moves have been ruled out. The rooks are connected. Queen e7. I mean, this is looking. I mean, the white king is once the light square bishop has been exchanged off, white's king is looking a lot healthier. I think Shaq would be very pleased to see that exchange.
I agree. I mean, I think the last series of moves have worked in white's favor. He's managed to consolidate his king position a lot more, and and he's now actually trying to get motoring a little bit on the king side, which is always a good move, as we know, Danny. H4 always, and it always has proven to be so far.
But as we discovered from the last game, in fact, it's just a prelude to the G pawn.
That's right. Getting ready for the other one to come up, which it makes a lot of sense here. I don't know, maybe I'm not sure who's better anymore. Actually, I mean, I was really liking black's position, but the white king seems quite safe to me now.
Yeah. So, I would take white now. Whereas if you come back to this position, after knight b4, I would take black.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it required a bit more of an energetic approach from black. I'm not sure if black's rook on the open c file is actually the right place. I think it maybe should have been behind the a pawn and starting to use the a pawn to come down the board. It might have been a bit more to the point there.
Yeah, it could be. Okay, so plan for black now. Now that Shaq has decided what he wants to do and is feeling confident enough to play h4.
I'll tell you what, Danny. Why? Just a quick question before we go. Why did the queen go to e7? Why didn't it go to e8? Can we just very, very quick look at that? Because I've got a really powerful idea, and the idea is to bring it to g6.
Oh, tasty. Very nice.
And if
well, maybe he's just going to just play this.
Okay, so I will give a check. Do I not have anything in this position?
So yeah, I mean, obviously knight c2, I've created a square.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at stuff here, but might not. You got bishop d3, haven't you, there as well?
Yeah.
Okay, just an idea.
No. I mean, listen, it's a nice thought. a6 played.
Quite slow.
It is. It's very slow. I mean, if this knight is pushed back, then I suppose, he might be looking to play b5 and the knight can hop in to c4. But yeah, it's pretty slow. And for the moment, of course, Shaq doesn't need to play a3 anyway. And I think, a3 knight c6, I think that really does help black to actually, get some kind of plan. But you don't need to do that for the moment. So on with the job. I would say either h5 or g4. I'm not quite sure. I mean, h5 is not silly to get this in. G4 I also like, because actually that could be rather annoying.
I like g4 because you're trying to push black's knight away on f6. So, at least forcing it to a slightly dodgier square.
Yeah.
Going to get very exciting, this game.
He's having a think. He's just under 8 minutes. Duda, 9 minutes. For those of you just joining us, just to say that this is the third game, and Duda is already 1.5 half up. There we go. That helps us when we can actually see it. 1.5 half up. So if Duda wins this one, then he will win the first set. But it is just a very open position. Shaq did go, he played h5, and it's gone h6. A swift block. Oh, well, that certainly invites g4, g5.
I'm not predicting any of Duda's moves, I have to be honest. I mean, like, the move h6 to me just shouts hook, you know, but okay, now a3, knight c6, and g4. Well, okay, here we go. We're getting some action now.
Well, I mean, Shaq is absolutely in his element.
Yeah. Yeah.
G5 happening. And, well.
But that's why I'm surprised by this h6 move. I mean, I'm talking about hook, the traditional idea. If you move a pawn in front of your king, you give your opponent something to hook onto to attack. And White's idea is very simple and very clear now. He's going to push Gary the G pawn and open up Black's king.
Okay, let's think how we're going to fight back. Let me start with d4.
Sure. Yeah. Now, I don't think I want to take that because your knight comes in with tempo. So I would think about knight a4 here, I guess.
Right. Okay, I'll just... I was going to say bishop a7 or bishop d6. I'll go bishop a7.
Yeah, maybe you're threatening b5, trapping my knight, actually, which is quite annoying.
But also, you know, I'm looking at playing knight d5, of course. And
yeah. Very, very unclear, isn't it, this position? I mean...
well, I quite like black now, actually.
Yeah. No, I like your
let's go back, because
I really like your d4 move. Makes a lot of sense here.
Okay, so what happens on takes? Let's have a look here.
So yeah, the knight flies in. Well, this is it. I mean, where do I put my queen? I haven't got a very comfortable square to move my queen here.
A2 is a bit miserable, isn't it?
Maybe you have to put it on A2.
And then knight d5. I keep wanting to play knight d5. Yeah, there's also
bishop a3, right? But then rook takes knight.
Yeah, rook takes knight, of course.
So you can try e5, but this is just so complicated because that also comes with some risk because I'm giving White some squares in the middle of the board if I push that e pawn.
Actually, what I want to do is take here and go knight d5.
Okay.
Because I'm just looking at the f2 pawn, really.
Knight e4 was also...
knight e4,
or knight takes g4 if you want to be really greedy, but let's maybe not.
Yeah, no, I completely forgot. No, listen, I want to be greedy, you know.
Okay, yeah. I mean, the main idea is just the queen is ridiculous, isn't it? On a2.
He's gone d4. He's gone d4.
Gone d4.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, you know, one of these cases where we're getting very excited about the g pawn, but actually this could be quite tasty. It's funny, you know, we were saying, oh, dude, looking very slow, and suddenly, boom, d4, and it's all going on again. This knight following up.
D4 is a great move. It makes a lot of sense because you're just trying to strike first before White gets one more move. I mean, I think he has to try this knight a4 because the other lines were looking so dodgy. But I like your bishop a7, just keeping control of White's knight, and White then has to find a very good move. I mean, if you go bishop a7, let's say I get on with it and go g5. I don't care you trap my knight. I'm just going to try to do some of my own funky stuff here.
Yep, fair
because
enough.
at the moment you're having all the fun with the black pieces. I can't allow that, Danny. I want to have some fun as well.
Okay.
So
now if I take, then that's quite nice, isn't it? After this, I think
I mean, it's a critical line b5 here where I have to sack a piece as White, but I've got h6. I'm hoping at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I want to do that with black.
Sure.
Really, I think I want to play knight d5 or knight. Which one? Knight d5, knight e4. I'll start with. I mean, my first instinct is to go knight d5.
Sure.
So I'm looking at that bishop, and it just feels nice, you know, behind that d pawn.
I think I have to open the black king up now by taking that hook on h6. So let's try that one.
Okay. Now, take on f4. Or take on e3 or b. Oh God, I could actually go. I could
There's so many things that, as you just said, Danny,
ignore it and just go here.
I know, as you said, Danny, there's about 5 tempting moves here for both sides. That's what's making this so hard to comprehend this position. And now does white go rook g1, or do you take on h7? What do you play here?
Takes,
and maybe rook g1. Like let's line them up, because I've got bishop d3. If you check.
In fact, I mean,
this has happened. Has this happened? Okay, he's gone for b5 immediately, which actually, I think if you're going to grab the piece, you'd probably play b5 here, right? Because you might be able to keep the black king closed. If I play h6, you might play g6.
But you know what? Shaq is now in his element. I mean, this is the kind of game that I was really hoping we were going to get in this match, because we've seen Shaq so many times play castles queenside and then just go for it on the king side. And I mean, I've seen him do it in classical games, and in Rapid, he's in his element. So, right, this piece is going. So on with the job.
Yeah, okay. So I think I have to try g6. I don't want to open the king. Okay, so this is
board. It's on the board.
Yeah. I love the way Shaq plays. He's such an exciting player, and you know, as you just said, Danny. Okay, well, rook c1. He played quickly. That's a very slow positional. Is it? I don't know what this is. A positional move, or just lining up against the knight? What's happening?
Well, okay. Let me take the piece, and then I have another think.
Yeah, good idea.
So that's a threat. Maybe he's just saying, look, I've got loads of pawns. My king is a lot safer than black's king. This bishop could be very tasty. This pawn looks a bit dodgy. I mean, what do we do about this knight? You know, if the knight has to move to e5, then you could just whip off another pawn.
Yeah, and this pin that white has with the dark square bishop is really nasty as well.
That's actually very interesting. Rooks, I'd say, okay, you know, if we were going to predict a follow-up,
rook c1 would not be on my radar.
Would be not be on my radar either. But, you know, very calm move.
So you
Queen f7 played.
Queen f7.
Stepping out of the pin.
Okay, another move which I did not expect, because now white doesn't have to sacrifice. Oh, I think he can play knight c5. I think this is possible now, saving the piece. But I'm not sure, because as a bishop takes a knight e4, still really complicated here.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe knight e4 is very strong in this position here.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks very tasty.
Okay, but Shaq's not worried about that knight anyway.
So Queen f7.
Another crafty move. I mean, you know, we've been talking about how impressive Shaq is at attacking, but Jan-Krzysztof is a brilliant attacker and loves complicated, messy positions as well. So we've got two guys who...
It's not like he's a stranger to complications. I mean, you know, he's in his element as well.
Both of these guys thrive in, you know, this type of madness, don't they? So it's ideal.
Okay, this is I find it, you know, every move I find for both players really difficult. I mean, if you want to save the piece, this is not a beautiful move, but because I mean, I'm very worried about knight e4, so I could whip that off. I'd rather not, and then bring the knight to c5.
Yeah,
might not be so bad actually. Depends how this one is.
I mean, it gets so messy after queen takes e6 here.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get my queen in.
I was just looking at this, and then queen takes bishop, and then it's white's turn down the other end.
Yeah, white starts to have some fun. The queen takes pawn. By the way, knight c5 immediately has been played, so I guess the point is...
Oh, he can flick it in, can't he?
Yes.
If bishop takes, that's right.
He now plays it. Yeah.
Very good. I think that's accurate.
They're both now under 5 minutes as well. So
This looks actually pretty tasty for white. I know I'm changing my opinion with every move, of course.
It's one of those positions where you're allowed to, because every move it changes.
But the thing is, now we're getting to one of those situations where white's king just looks a bit safer than black's.
Agreed.
And when this opens up, this starts to look really scary. And as you were pointing out, you just kind of go, oh blimey, this is a bit close for comfort, isn't it?
It certainly is. I mean, you got rook takes knight simply as well if you don't even want to give up material in this kind of position. And the king safety, it's so key, especially when you're getting short time. You know, whose king is safer is worth a pawn when, you know, in these situations at least. Not that I'm counting pawns here, by the way, because I don't even know who's material up at the moment, but it seems to be equal.
For what it's worth.
Yeah, of course it's equal.
320 for Duda, 450 for Mamedov. So they're getting, the clocks are ticking down.
Is the evaluation bar on, Danny? Is the evaluation actually saying it's even? Because, I mean, it's one of those positions where I think any human in the world would not be able to guess that it's just even here. I think the evaluation bar is on, and we can see that the evaluation bar is just saying it's just about even.
Yeah.
Nothing going on, which I find incredible.
It seems to be on. I turned it off, and now I've turned it on again.
Yeah.
So
I'm getting attacked by a wasp here. So if I do, I've got a wasp nest outside my window.
Oh, blimey!
It gets very hot in here, so I was hoping as winter comes, they're not gonna attack me, but we'll see. But if I get stung and I start screaming, I apologize in advance. Okay.
Okay. Thanks. It's not just the excitement of the game.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck with that then.
Cheers. Thank you.
Oh, gee.
I would not like to be black though here, even if the computer is saying it's even. We're struggling to find. I'm struggling to find a move for black in this.
Okay.
Position.
Well, let me try knight d5.
Okay. Yeah.
If I can't go to e4, he's actually taken. I've just seen out of the corner of my eye, he's actually taken on c5.
So a bit of simplification happening.
Yeah. So just to recap, after bishop takes, he did flick in bishop takes. Very important. Zwischenschach. There we go. You enjoyed that.
It sounded like you did there.
Yeah.
You speak German, don't you, Danny?
Sorry?
You speak German, don't you? So,
well,
yeah,
in a fashion. But that's really important to get rid of the knight. And now
black needs to find a good move. I mean, I don't think you can take that pawn with the black queen because you can't allow white's queen in.
Knight a5 played.
Makes sense. We're getting some exchanges now. So queen where? Queen b4 maybe to keep an eye on the knight.
And then rook takes, queen takes. And then, well, I was wondering about this, but it's actually
rook f1. There's rook f1 as well there.
Oh, rook f1.
I mean, like when the queen took on f2. So
they're both winning actually.
And here as well, yeah.
Wow,
Hamid, we've got an ending now. What's happening here?
Okay, here. Queen f5 check.
Very nice idea.
Just in time.
That is really clever defense because black needed to, I think, swap the queens off there
desperately.
And Duda must be feeling a lot happier now. So this was probably the only line to keep that equality. So I understand the evaluation bar a bit more now. A little bit more. Not totally, but
no, I think excellent defense. That was a very narrow window.
Yeah.
These guys are good.
They are very good.
Okay. Let me hack on. So if I take, do I take on? I'll take on d4.
Right. I guess I whip that pawn off.
Yeah. So I play here. Knight c4. So that probably forces that one, and then should be equal.
Yeah, maybe rook e1 or something, and start activating. This looks pretty even, this position, yeah.
Something like this could get exciting.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know whether I should be doing this with black, but I mean that G pawn feels very fast to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that.
I've no idea how to evaluate this ending. I'll be honest. You're going to have to give the rook up for that pawn, but how far advanced the white's pawn's going to get, I think, is
okay. That was a bit kick and run, but it does feel okay for black actually. Let's just go back. So it's that position. Sorry, one move back. That position. That's on the board.
What else can white do here? So anything else? I mean, white's H pawn is not looking great now. So you can't really support that pawn. And in that last variation, black did have another option. I mean, like after pawn takes pawn, which has been played, rook takes bishop d3. You could maybe just go king h7 here, could you as well? I mean, this is another way you might be able to play. I suppose rook g1.
Yeah, rook g1's annoying.
Yeah.
This is on the board, by the way.
It's on the board, yeah.
I think we might be seeing this actually.
Yeah.
I mean, this looks bishop d3 play. I think knight c4. I mean, the knight is offside. Want to bring it back into play. Don't like bishop g6. I mean, knight c4 feels pretty good. You could go knight here, but bishop g6, knight takes. I mean, the thing is, in this kind of position, I'm a bit worried if this rook suddenly switches, and then black would have to go passive. You know, that doesn't feel right at all. So, I mean, I'm guessing that's why knight c4.
But do you need to take this knight? I know you were taking it, but let's just see what happens if I take on g6 here anyway.
Okay. I mean, I'm assuming that this is.
Yeah. Now I'm not sure if I go in the corner or into the center. I don't know which is safer. I mean, let's say I go in the corner maybe, and I want to like do get the rook in, but
okay. So that's the basic threat.
Yeah, but maybe you got rook.
He's gone knight c4, by the way. Yeah, I'll go. Okay. Yeah, maybe this one.
Yeah, rook g2, I think is. And I can do something weird like bishop b1 with the same idea, going rook f1.
Yeah, but it's going to gain a tempo, isn't it? This doesn't look right, does it?
It doesn't look right. I'm relying on getting the rook in, but it's not getting in, I don't think.
I think it's a bit slow. I think so knight c4 is on the board. I think he's just got to take it.
Yeah.
And then I think we're just going to see an endgame, which it's still very messy, but I imagine it's equal.
Yeah.
He's having a think. He's down to Mamedyrov's down to just over 2 minutes. Duda down to 1.5 minutes. Finding those very critical moves to actually, simplify. Took a lot of time. He's gone. Mamedyarov's gone bishop c2. Fair play. He's playing for the win.
Okay.
And now that I see it, of course, very sensible.
Yes. It's always easy in hindsight, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I mean, why not play for the win here when your opponent is also now getting under 1 minute? And you can see in the video of the two players, it looks like Duda is, pretty visibly a bit nervous still here. Maybe that's his natural, body posture.
Rook g2. Well, and we know that Mamedyarov needs to try and get a win. He's 1.5 half down. For those just joining us, if Duda wins this one, then he's won the set. But Mamedyarov would like to hit back.
I mean, a draw as well means that Mamedyarov will have to win the last game with black, so it's not the end of the world if a draw occurs here. But
King c1 played.
Yep, okay, that's going to be a very interesting finish now.
Avoiding knight checks.
Time situation.
He wants to get in rook e1, and he's got in rook e1. So king h7, rook e1. Yeah, king takes, rook takes. He's looking at those queenside pawns. King h6 played.
Yeah, but it's rook g1 check, right? So he has to get rid of this knight first.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But now what's happening after knight takes a3? I mean, this seems very logical. He's played it. Bishop d3. This is what's going on, Danny? Now, I mean, this white's now 2 pawns down,
and he can always save the knight with this one if he wants to. Okay, so what happens on rook takes?
Well, it's black's move at the moment.
Oh,
so
that's good. That's good. Thank you.
So, I mean, but it's coming. Your rook takes pawn is certainly coming here.
Yeah, but black's got to, black could have a big tempo. Maybe rook here.
Rook here, I guess.
He's actually gone rook g4. Yeah, that's very nice. I think Duda's fine here.
I think the pawns are coming off right. I mean, even if you just take on e6, black's knight is very bad, and you're going to have everything getting liquidated here, aren't you?
So this could happen. Yeah, we've got this one.
And I think if black's king was on the queen side in these positions, black would have some winning chances. But I think with the black king being so far away from the action, it's absolutely safe for white. And
yeah, he's actually gone rook g6. Oh yeah, now he's going to take on a6.
Right, this is looking like a draw, dead draw now.
Yeah, just rook check, and then rook takes, and
okay. Well, I mean, he can start moving his king back, can't he? Should be or b4. B4, you got check, right?
Yeah, b4 check is a bit annoying. I guess he's just going to move his king back. Is what black is?
I think b4 is an easy draw, actually.
You think b4?
I think so. King g6, and now I check you first and go like g file or something.
Yeah,
it should be.
Okay. Yeah, this is exactly what's happened.
Yeah.
Good. So looking like we're cruising into a draw here, unless something very wild happens. Let's just keep up to date. We've got.
What does that mean, Danny? I mean, it looks like we're going to get a fourth game, everyone. With Mamedyarov in a position where he has to win. We got another day of chess tomorrow, but more importantly, Danny has a pub quiz later, and it might seem like you're only going to be able to get the second half now, Danny. I'm afraid.
I'm confident of getting a good second half in.
Good.
Yeah. Good. So we've got one more game after this, and we've got a draw. There we are.
And is the music round going to be in the second half, though, or are you going to miss the music round?
I'm hoping. I think it is in the second round, so that gives me hope. Okay, here we got the scores on the doors. So it's 2. Let me see, 2-1. Is that right? It is 2-1. Yeah, I can just about add up. 2-1 to Duda. So that means Mamedyarov is in a must-win situation going into game 4. He needs to win to make it 2-2 to draw the set. And then, well, we're going to have day 2 anyway. So Mamedyarov with black in a must-win situation. Tough one, Simon.
It's going to be tough. I mean, the thing with Mamedyarov, he's one of those players who can, really make the position a complete mess and give himself chances. And in the position he's in, it doesn't matter if he loses or draws, right? So he can go, he can take more risks than normal. Having the black pieces makes it a little bit tougher. Does he have any chances? I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember you had one match in this Champions Tour. I can't remember who it was against, Danny, but it might even been Magnus, where they both started with just black wins. So Mamedyarov won both his black games, and so did Magnus. I can't remember if it was Magnus. So it's possible, but obviously Duda favourite at the moment for today. So yeah.
We know, as you say, Mamedyarov knows how to shake stuff up. That's a really interesting game. I just want to just very quick recap. Somehow Mamedyarov did engineer such an interesting position, and as you pointed out, this move knight b4, very direct, and going g6, or if queen b3, then bishop f5. Fascinating, very direct. But we had Duda going bishop e6, knight g5. I mean, that seemed, from White's viewpoint, to be nice because at least you can eliminate the bishop. But actually, after this move, still seemed quite nice. And then Duda started playing very slowly with king h8.
Felt like he missed his opportunity, really. I think Duda a little bit earlier, when this bishop e6 move was obviously a mistake. He had to play a little bit more aggressively there.
But then d4 came and we changed our mind again.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes here.
But I mean, this turned into an absolutely fantastic scrap. And then, I mean, maybe the star move of the game, I have no idea what the computer thinks about it, but from a position where we're going, what on earth does white play? Mamedyarov comes up with this amazing move, rook c1. Shocker. Very cool under pressure. The knight came in and suddenly everything is liquidating. And again, situation where we're thinking, well, Mamedyarov's kind of swung around in his favor and do the spots that he can exchange queens. It's a good scrap.
It's a very good scrap, yeah. Really good. Kind of game I like expect from these two players, like tactics, and then with quite careful play, a draw in the end,
Yeah.
But Duda had that chance. He did have the chance to finish the match off there.
Really,
not the match, shall I say, the first leg.
Yeah,
we got another day tomorrow, of course.
Yeah, whatever happens. Yeah,
whatever happens.
Really interesting. So we're at 19 minutes past. Don't know when. Have we got word on when the next game is going to be? Not sure.
It's in about 10 minutes, I think, from now.
Fine.
So half past, I would have thought.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
And there we go. Quick recap of the scores: 2-1 to Duda. Mamedyarov in a must-win situation in game 4. So we'll take a short break, and we'll see you back around about 8 to 9 minutes just before the 4th game starts.
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Air Things.
The Aimchess Retry Mistakes lesson shows you positions from your own games where you made a mistake, and gives you the opportunity to make a better move, and learn from your own positions. Aimchess analysis boards let you take an opening position you don't recognize, and instantly find videos featuring that position from some of your favorite chess content creators. Aimchess breaks down your games by the opening, and tells you how you're scoring after the first 15 moves, so you can quickly learn which openings work for you, and which you need to practice more.
I'm going to talk about my games from this season of the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour.
The idea of h4 is very direct. I want to play h5, open up the king side, and potentially check my team.
Alan continued with trying to put some pressure here on the e6 pawn. And c5, knight's doing a great job here, both potentially for some attacking ideas, but also defending the e6 pawn.
Rook g8 still doesn't spoil anything, but rook takes g7 is a gross mistake now, because rook c8 is still easily winning.
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Air Things.
The Aimchess Retry Mistakes lesson shows you positions from your own games where you made a mistake, and gives you the opportunity to make a better move, and learn from your own positions. Aimchess analysis boards let you take an opening position you don't recognize, and instantly find videos featuring that position from some of your favorite chess content creators. Aimchess breaks down your games by the opening, and tells you how you're scoring after the first 15 moves, so you can quickly learn which openings work for you, and which you need to practice more.
I'm going to talk about my games from this season of the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour.
The idea of h4 is very direct. I want to play h5, open up the king side, and potentially check my team.
Alan continued with trying to put some pressure here on the e6 pawn. And c5, knight's doing a great job here, both potentially for some attacking ideas, but also defending the e6 pawn.
Rook g8 still doesn't spoil anything, but rook takes g7 is a gross mistake now, because rook c8 is still easily winning.
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Air Things.
The Aimchess Retry Mistakes lesson shows you positions from your own games where you made a mistake, and gives you the opportunity to make a better move, and learn from your own positions.
Welcome back, everyone. Game 4. This is absolutely crucial. Shahriar Mammadov in a must-win situation. He's 2-1 down. He needs to win this game to tie the first set. Can he do it? Simon, what's your prediction?
Well, he can do it, but will he do it? That's another question. And I think it's looking at the opening. I mean, you know, he's going for a very unbalanced, which he has to, position with the c5 move. I've never really had much faith in c5 in this position, personally. I very much like White's position after this simple pawn push. So I'm going to say Duda's going to hold it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you know, this does unbalance the position. And, you know, this idea with b5, it's always been thought to be a bit dodgy, hasn't it? Because White can often just undermine this pawn very quickly and then gain control of the c4 square. So it's not, you know, it's a very strange kind of Benoni position, but it is really double-edged, and that's what Mammadov wants. So, well, eyes down, he can do it. Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one, but let's see.
Agreed. And taking on f6 is the main move here, Danny. I mean, I've looked at this quite a lot of White, and I came up with some quite interesting ideas actually with the White piece as a sack and a pawn. But this is the main move, and funnily enough, if Black is able to consolidate and get his dark square bishop on that diagonal, he often does pretty okay in these kind of positions. But White can hit with the move c3, I think, at some point is the suggested way that you try to get some action before Black can get castled here.
Okay, you don't just occupy
I think you can do that as well. That is another way you can play. Just put the knight on that square, which he's going for.
I mean, that would be my first thought. Get in a5.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether we put the knight in first or play that.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. As per your suggestion, the f pawn advances, and that's making ready so the diagonal is clear.
I remember looking at this, Danny, and I actually I visually really like White's position. I might have even had this position, but the more I looked at this, I recall thinking that Black's kind of okay in these positions, funnily enough, because of that bishop.
Yeah, huge piece.
Yeah.
I suppose from Duda's point of view, it is a relatively stable position. You know, there are sort of very clear strategic features with White controlling the c4 square. But yeah, I think Mamedyarov has what he wants, which is imbalance in the position. Now, where does this bishop go? Does it go, do you play g3 and bishop g2, or do you just go bishop e2?
Probably I would have thought put it on e2, something like this. But I'm not sure what you're doing next. I mean, White's got this lovely knight, of course, beautiful knight there. But what else has he got here apart from that knight?
Okay, he's gone g3.
Oh, he's gone g3. Okay.
I suppose one thing about g3 is that it does shut down the f4 move. Rook a7. Yep, that one can switch into the game to the e file.
Also getting out of the way of knight b6.
Yeah.
So, and the rook has come over. I think generally black should be quite happy the way this has gone. I'm not saying black's better or anything like that by any means, but he's got some imbalance, and that's all you can ask for in a must-win situation. Get a position which is imbalanced, so you can just fight.
I'd like to put that. Yeah, I'd like to put the bishop on b5.
Yeah, that'd be a lovely idea.
That's why he's gone queen c7, of course, because if you play knight or bishop to d7, then obviously d6 could be taken. So he's gone queen c7. Players playing very quickly so far. So yeah, I mean, I'm sort of anticipating bishop d7 to b5, and then the knight will come to d7.
I like that plan. Looks like a good plan. I think black should be very happy here.
Yeah, where's White's pawn break? I mean, you mentioned earlier that the other, I mean, way back here, the other way to play this position is to go for a very quick c3. I mean, it slightly concerns me from White's viewpoint that, where is the pawn break here?
Yeah, I mean, if you ever go e4, positionally, that kind of helps black because he gets rid of his double pawns. If you go c3, maybe it is c3 still. Maybe this is the move you've got to do. I'm a bit surprised that Mamedyarov went for the knight to that square, because I think your idea of putting the bishop there made a lot more sense.
Well, he can bear that one in mind, because the knight is coming to f6 and to e4.
Into the position, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then he can still maneuver the bishop round. So, I mean, that, of course, very logical to bring the knight to f6 as well. h5, here we go.
Here we come.
Yeah.
We know what's coming now.
We do.
Do you know what's always a good move, Danny? H5 or h4. Always.
H5, always. Every position. And White thinks so too.
There you go. Look at that. Always a good move.
But, of course, now that h4 has been induced, there's a chain reaction. Black can use the g4 square for the knight.
Yep.
Now, the bishop has come here. Yeah, if it went to d7, then... Well, I mean, a6 is on prise, actually, of course, I realise now. But anyway, so bishop b7. Not the most beautiful square, but at least, I suppose, it is looking at this.
Yeah.
And yeah, if this knight comes in, then this square is available. But yeah, that g4 square, that's really where I want the knight, actually. g4, and then, maybe you follow up with bishop h6 sometimes, or bishop e5. Certainly double on the e file. Looks pretty nice.
Okay, so he's got his c3 pawn break in, and I think this is the one pawn break that you've got to rely on, basically, in these positions here.
Now, question. Do we take... I mean, I suppose we take on c3, because if you allow White to take, that pawn on b4 could turn out to be a bit weak, as well as White just kind of claiming the c file. So I mean, I imagine we have to take this. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what he's done.
And I mean, this whole... I think black's main idea is to try to sacrifice on the e3 in the way that you've demonstrated.
I think it's really dangerous. Really dangerous.
Agreed.
With the dark squared bishop coming to h6. And potentially the queen cutting back here. I mean, it would be nice to be able to get the queen into the attack. I mean, the other way, maybe you don't have to sacrifice sometimes with knight g4. If we can get the queen back, I was going to say getting g5 as well. I mean, maybe it feels cleaner to go for a sacrifice, actually.
It does. I mean, I like knight g4 because maybe you're also now thinking of a potential sacrifice on f2 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to play with your pieces. And, you know, what does Mamedyarov love doing? He loves sacrificing pieces and checkmating. I mean, this is what he's going for.
Yeah.
So Duda's got to think about what to do here. I guess he can put a knight back on, well, one of the knights to c4 to try and defend that key square there. Not sure which knight, though.
Yeah. I mean, I was also looking at moving this knight to, I mean, there's the grovelly knight f1, which isn't very attractive. There's also knight f3, which does open up the rook's line on the second rank.
Yeah.
So that rook kind of turns into a defensive piece. So, yeah, I mean, I think we can all already with black start to look at moves like this. And, you know, you can get a third pawn here. I'm a bit worried about that bishop. It's very hard to get it into the attack.
This is why your bishop d7 and bishop b5 I really liked earlier on, because if black could have got rid of that bishop, all the other pieces are working fantastic. And this could be the problem that black has. And I like white's move here because he's got the open b file. That knight wasn't actually doing anything on that square anymore.
But now that bishop comes back, actually.
Yeah.
Bishop c8. You don't have to plunge in straight away.
No.
That
if white can stop these sacrifices, though, the other question is, what is black actually doing? White's going to move his rook into b6, I think, and white's pressure on the queen side. Something is going to drop for black. So
that is really dangerous.
There's two big weak pawns, isn't there, Danny? The typical one you get in these kind of Benoni positions, the pawn on d6 is always an issue, and that's why. This is one of the reasons why the Benoni is not played so often at top level, because of that pawn. Always. So black needs to do something quicker, I think. Okay, okay, right, here it comes. The queen is getting ready.
Watch out. G5 could be happening.
So what if I bring my rook in now? I mean, yeah, the rook has landed.
Have you seen how quickly Mamedyarov's playing? He's still got 15 minutes left.
It's incredible. Yeah. Blitzing out the moves.
Well, it's, you know, he realizes he's in a do or die situation.
Yeah.
That's a compromise. Rook d7. But it does open up the queen's diagonal.
Certainly does.
G5 could be on the cards.
I've got to be a bit careful of the f5 pawn, or maybe you don't. I don't know. Maybe you can just sack it.
Do you know what? I don't trust this for black. It's good fun, but it looks a bit dodgy to me.
You know what, Danny? I'm kind of with you with that. I kind of like, you know, this is the kind of rubbish I often get in the Dutch, you know, whenever, you know, you have a punt, but if white defends carefully, you're positionally busted, you know. Oh, hello.
Here we go. Oh, the knight is in. So obviously rook takes rook b7, which obviously we overlooked as well.
Yeah.
So we need to switch on. Knight d6. Wow.
Yeah.
That just blows his position apart, basically. And the thing is, it's a huge pawn to take, and the bishop is attacked as well. Wow.
Yeah. Well, you know, your instinct was good there, Danny. You were like, yeah, I don't trust this. Next move, completely lost, probably. I don't know about completely lost, because it is a pawn, and black's still got some chances on the king side, but you really need to. I mean, like f4, can you play some discombobulator like that? You know, just throw it in.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, pawn takes, queen takes h4 is fun. He's played f4. There you go.
Look, us Dutch hackers, you know, in these positions, we know how to randomize it when we need to.
Yeah, here we go. So if pawn takes pawn, then the rook can. Well, it's one check.
Yeah, it's one check. Yeah,
is it more than one check?
Well, I didn't get that far. So, yeah, my thinking was probably not, but what else can I do? You know?
Yeah. Well, rook's active.
Yeah, I mean, I've only got one active piece, so it's not.
We need a follow up.
Yeah, where is it? I don't know.
Queen f6.
Was rook e2 the idea instead of rook check? Maybe rook e2 was. Oh no, sorry, you just take it. What am I talking about? Absolute rubbish. I mean, I can't see.
Let's throw in a check, but it's not so clear because I'm looking at queen f6 here.
Okay. Yeah, it's murky, right?
Is it though? Is it really?
Well, it's a little bit murky.
How murky? I don't know. What if I protect that pawn?
That's a very...
And do you know what? I'm not even going to bother. I'm going to play rook b6.
I
want to get rid of the rook. I want to queen the d pawn.
Yeah, that's a good move. I don't actually see what black's doing, really. There must be something. I mean, f4 is the kind of move you play instinctively to try and, your position's bad, try to get some pieces into the game, but e takes f4. What actually is black doing there? Is there something we're missing? Or is it just a bit of a bluff, this?
I don't know. I can't see it. He's taken it.
Well, we're going to find out. I mean, the checks look so natural. This is the only idea I could see when playing this to get this rook in. But where's the follow-up?
Well, I mean, it's very handy that rook is on a2.
Very useful.
That gives me confidence with white. He's just gone queen e8. This has happened. And he's gone queen e8.
Okay.
Because why is he gone queen?
Okay, he's got rook d8. Maybe he's king moves. I don't know. It's not believable, this, is it?
No. I mean, even the king on h7 looks a little bit dodgy.
Yeah.
f5 probably don't. It gives the knight square. Probably don't need to play that. I
like your rook b6 idea at some moment too, but I don't know if it's right now. You've got rook d8 as well. See where the black queen goes. Rook b8, should I say?
Yeah.
Rook b8 looks. Where do you actually put your queen?
Well,
you don't want to swap queens.
Ping out there actually.
You're coming that way.
Yeah. Don't know. I don't think we need to play rook b8.
So maybe rook b6 again and just try to queen the d pawn. I mean, it's obviously a good position for white. I mean, that goes without saying. It's 2 pawns, but there's still chances here for white to go wrong. I mean, like for example, if you ever played c4, which you won't, any position whatsoever, the bishop comes in front of the queen to d4, and this is why I think Danny and these, we could even go back to move 2. Where black plays c5. This is why I never like playing c5 as black when the white pawn's still on c2. I much prefer it when the white pawn's already on c4, because that pawn on c3 in a lot of these positions just stops black's play.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, let me try something totally brazen. Okay, I just want to go for it with f5.
You're coming at me, are you?
Well, I mean, the idea is that I just want to take and open up a 7th rank.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit concerned about giving the knight square.
Sure.
But I'm just going to put up with that. I'm just going to go for this and then hope that I've got a good queen move. I can't think of a good queen move. That's the only problem. Yeah, still a little bit.
Okay.
Little bit tricky. Knight c4. I don't know if this is actually doing anything. Little bit tricky. In fact, he went for rook b6.
Right. At least this way he's got his own trump, the d pawn, and he can just sort of try to tie black down by simply pushing that. But even f5 now is probably stronger, isn't it?
I suppose.
Or is it the same? Similar thing, yeah.
Yeah, similar thing.
Knight e5 is a good move, yeah.
He's just, it's very cold-blooded. He's just taken on an a6.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't even look at these pawns, I just sort of I assume 2 pawns is enough.
Yeah, I mean, he's just saying, look, I'm completely super solid here.
Yeah, okay.
Why?
Yeah.
Why bother actually?
Queen a1 now is coming to black's got some activity.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, whether it actually threatens anything is another matter, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm going to ask the question: what if I play here?
Okay. Well, I've got queen a2 in these positions.
Which queen a2.
If you give up the second rank, that's a little bit annoying, at least.
It is. Yeah. Okay. That one I'd forgotten about. Which is why, of course, the rook was doing very well on b2, covering the second rank.
Yeah.
I mean,
very good.
Is this?
Well, I got bishop takes c3, and
yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to go there. No,
it's getting a bit messy there.
Let's just see that again. What about queen d? Oh no, queen d2 blunders the queen. Thank you. Okay, so let me just show that there is a pin. Not too clever. Okay, so yeah, rook b7 is a bit much. Okay, what looks like a consolidating move?
Well, I guess, Danny, if you want to do that, you can go rook a7, because you can try to keep that rook on b2. Then it is possibly a better way of doing that idea.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, it's still a bit murky because the queen can come in to a3 or a1 probably, and you've got to now decide, can you go rook b7 here? This is an improved version, I think, because white's starting to get some big threats on the 7th rank.
Okay,
Black's got to play.
Yeah. Let me try that one.
Well, now I can go queen f3, and I've got this extra tempo with the 2 rooks on the 7th, so it might tactically be working in white's favor.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. And in fact, well, yeah, excellent. He's gone rook a7. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking, you know, after this, yeah, I mean, maybe rook b7 is just a good move.
Yeah.
I mean, I was also just thinking of playing rook e2 and in a sense gaining a tempo like that as well.
Just trying to swap off Black's active pieces makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, I've seen the eval bar very much in white's favor, and I don't think it's a big surprise. I think you know, it's got to be better for white. It's just the details, and it's a little bit tricky because obviously Mamedyarov has some activity here. He's played so quickly. Still 13.5 minutes left. Duda still has 7 minutes. So actually, they've reached quite a critical situation where Duda, he still has a lot of time on the clock.
Yeah. He's got enough time to calculate when it gets really critical, right? I mean, that's at some point, if in order to Duda to convert this, he will need to calculate. It's going to maybe be a little bit hairy, but as he's 3 pawns up, you know, calculations are going to work in your favor if you can do the calculations correctly. And Shaq really wants to move his queen in now, and he does. He goes for it. But
he's looking very frustrated, isn't he? He was kind of grimacing there.
And you can tell Duda's the king again. He's up. He's up in the screen. So
yeah. I mean, the body language just betrays how they're feeling. So
yeah,
you can see it. You know, every picture tells a story, doesn't it? You can see it. Duda's keen as mustard.
He is
looking relaxed.
I mean, after rook b7?
Yeah.
I mean, can you try to go bishop takes c3 and king g8? I mean, oh no, because queen takes g6. Sorry. Doesn't work. I'm desperately need one more tempo as black here, but this, you know,
I've just seen what Duda's done actually. He's gone. Instead of rook b7, he's played rook a b7.
Okay.
Just to keep control over the 2nd rank, which is, I mean, that is super solid, isn't it? Because he's not even giving away the c3 pawn, and he maintains control over the 2nd rank.
And in some positions, then he's threatening to take on f7. I mean, if queen takes a pawn, a5, then maybe here you just take on f7 because those ideas we saw before. Well, what does black actually do here? I don't see.
Yeah.
The rook on b2 is such a key piece, actually, isn't it? Really strong defender
and
attacker.
Can switch over as well. So yeah, that I mean, there's f5, there's rook b7, there's everything. So yeah, I mean, look, Duda, that's the kind of move which, you know, is very calm. It's just about controlling the position. You know, we're trying all these big lunges with rook b7, and you know, I was trying f5 and stuff, but it does give black a kind of smidgen of play, whereas this one is just kind of, it could be a complete shutout, basically.
I find that's one of my problems, and maybe the difference between a lot of these top GMs and you know, other grandmasters, that their ability to not give their opponent any counterplay whatsoever is remarkable sometimes. You know, like this position is still very messy, and I you know, White could go wrong here, but you're right. This Rook B7 move is a really class move, keeping it under control, just stopping your opponent doing anything, nice and calm. The A pawn's ready to push now. Okay, Black's giving up another pawn to complicate things. So
Mamedyarov is trying every randomizer in the book, and Duda's just taking it. Yeah, I was just going to say, why is he giving up the pawn? I can't quite see the point.
When you're giving up 3 pawns, Danny, you might as well give up a 4th, right? It doesn't matter, does it? Just give them all up. Who cares?
Just stir the pot, basically, and see just something might turn up.
Yeah.
I suppose, maybe he was concerned that, this move would just exchange off lots of pieces, or at least just exchange off the rook, basically. So I thought of it.
I think
buys him a little time.
Yeah, he's okay. So now I was thinking rook takes pawn. It's time to play this, and he has played it. Yeah,
he's broken. This is like game over, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Double on the 7th, and mate on h7. Oh, come on.
Your f5 move, Danny, and queen check as well. There's so many tempters here. This is okay. Yeah, why not? Why not? And we have to remind everyone, this is not the end of the final. There is another day tomorrow. And if Mamedyarov wins in the 4 games tomorrow, we will have a playoff. So do remember, we're going to be back, me and you, Danny, tomorrow. And it was game over now.
We are. It is game over. This is a really convincing victory. And as we can see there, the scores on the doors, it's 3-1 to Duda. Duda takes the first set. So that means tomorrow, Mamedyarov is in a must-win situation. He needs to take the set to level and then go into a tiebreak. So, I thought Duda played extremely well today.
Yeah, 100% agree. He was always pushing in every game, and he was never, I seem to recall, in that much trouble or any trouble. So he had the initiative, and whatever Mamedyarov was trying, like in this last game, just wasn't working. Duda calculating well and keeping control. So impressive, very impressive from Duda.
Yeah, keeping control. I think that's the watchword. So we saw this very quick, tame draw in game 1. We saw this really impressive game by Duda in game 2, where, it was about control. He controlled it beautifully and found a very nice strategy. And then going into this end game where maybe Mamedyarov could have held with very accurate play, but it was about control, wasn't it? And then we had game 3, which Mamedyarov did succeed in randomizing, but actually Duda found a way to exchange queens. That was critical. And then, he never lost control in this game 4, basically.
Yeah, the whole of the day, really, he was never in trouble. He was never worse, I don't think, in any position, was he?
Not really. No. That game 3 was a little bit dodgy.
It was a little bit dodgy, but he found this great queen exchange, as you mentioned. And we have to remember in that game, he did miss the knight before, where he was probably winning as well. So it was it just seemed very strong play from Duda. It's funny, Danny, because when the candidates was on, I actually had a bet on Duda to qualify in the last candidates, because he was something like 16-1. It was crazy.
Really?
And, it was ridiculous odds. And I'm really, watching him in this tour over the last year or so, I've been so impressed how he's dealt with the other top players. He seems to be able to mix the position up when he wants to. His technical aspect is very good. He's very resilient. He's just a really class player. And I wouldn't be surprised if he, gets a chance at the World Championships at some point, actually. But there's so many players. That's a bit above myself, really. I'm saying that. There's so many players nowadays, aren't there, who could be there.
But what I like about Duda is that he pushes in every game. And he doesn't go crazy.
Yeah.
But he is always prepared to play for a win. And that's why, he won the World Cup, basically.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to really go for players, whether it's Magnus Carlsen, and basically anyone downwards. He's an exciting player and not afraid. And, I think today we saw that he's a really class act as well.
Yeah, and he's one of the only players, Danny, who seems to put Magnus under serious pressure. Because you mentioned the World Cup, he beat Magnus in the over the board. He beat Magnus here as well, and there's not many players who can do that to Magnus.
Yeah, and actually, wasn't Duda the one that beat Magnus for the first time in like 100?
He was, yeah. He broke Magnus's winning streak, the longest winning streak in the history of chess, or non-losing streak, shall I say?
Yeah,
so
I mean, we just had the brackets up there. Should we maybe we can see those again, because it shows the Duda's route into the final. So we can see in the semi-final. Actually, it was I thought it was a pretty convincing victory over Magnus.
Yeah. And also the way he's dealt with all these amazing players from India. I mean, I think in the prelims he was he was destroying them all pretty much. So he's been very impressive, Duda.
In the quarter, well, he brushed aside Vidit actually, but yeah, beating Magnus not easy, but actually he did it very convincingly, and you know, if we compare it with this final game here, the game that Duda played against Magnus it was a King's Indian. Magnus threw a King's Indian at him, and actually Duda just took control of that game beautifully. And yeah, I'm afraid made Magnus's King's Indian look very pedestrian indeed. It was a very classy game.
You know what? I haven't seen that game, and I'm really enjoying playing the King's Indian, so I'm going to have a look at that one. So.
Well, I'm a bit. Truth be told, I'm a bit of a King's Indian hater.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of.
Oh, not the King's Indian defense. Was it a King's Indian?
A King's Indian defense. Yeah,
it was. Oh, you're a King's Indian defense hater, really?
A bit of, yeah.
Oh, right.
I mean, I've played it, of course, but actually, I really like playing on the white side of it.
That's strange. I really like playing on the black side. So it's like,
oh Jesus, what are we building up to here?
Oh yeah.
But Duda played the variation with H3, which I think is a very, I mean, it's a really enterprising way for white to play, where you basically you don't allow your king to be attacked on the king side. You go for the attack with white.
Right. Yeah.
And I find that a very attractive way of playing, that you kind of turn the tables. And actually, yeah, that's how things finished. Actually, Duda finished just taking apart Magnus's king. A really, really convincing victory, actually.
Yeah.
So there we go. Mamedyarov has his work cut out tomorrow. At the moment, Duda very much in control, but we shall see. Mamedyarov is a man who can fight back, as we know. So Simon, we'll be on tomorrow again. So do join us, everyone, for this Aimchess Rapid. Do check out Aimchess/try if you want to check out this very powerful chess improvement tool. Very interesting, and 30% off Aimchess subscription during this tournament. So do check that out. Aimchess/try. Simon, it was a pleasure. And we will see everyone tomorrow at, remind me, 1700 hours UK, 1800 hours Central European time.
And Danny, just before we go, good luck in your quiz. I hope you get a music round in, and I know you've got to be off there soon, so enjoy your night, and everyone else as well. Yeah.
Thanks very much. All right. Take care.
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with AirThings.
The Aimchess Retry Mistakes lesson shows you positions from your own games where you made a mistake, and gives you the opportunity to make a better move, and learn from your own positions. Aimchess analysis boards let you take an opening position you don't recognize, and instantly find videos featuring that position from some of your favorite chess content creators. Aimchess breaks down your games by the opening, and tells you how you're scoring after the first 15 moves, so you can quickly learn which openings work for you, and which you need to practice more.
I'm going to talk about my games from this season of the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour.
The idea of h4 is very direct. I want to play h5, open up the king side, and potentially check my team.
Alan continued with trying to put some pressure here on the e6 pawn. And c5, knight's doing a great job here, both potentially for some attacking ideas but also defending the e6 pawn.
Rook g8 still doesn't spoil anything, but rook takes g7 is a gross mistake now, because rook c8 is still easily winning.